Oh, hello. Brave Monday nerds, welcome back to another episode of Aloft, a post-atomic romance, here on GeekSpaceTV. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Also, thanks for tuning in after what's been kind of a long Monday for everyone that I've talked to. So, yeah, not only am I glad you're here, we're here with these friends you usually see, like Monica, who is back playing the druid Fennec, Holly, back playing Yolanda Orlando, the group's paladin, George, playing Getty, who's a bard and a doctor, and, well...
Dr. Bard. MD.
Dr. Bard?
MD.
Like you didn't... You're certainly not Mr. Bard. Yeah. And, also Corwin, yet again, back playing Theo, the ranger, and the pilot. So, before we get into what happened last week, there's some cool stuff happening this week. It's stuff that happens most weeks here on GeekSpaceTV, like Wednesday night is another awesome episode of Leviathan Distant Stars. I know it's awesome because I've been given a premonition. Also, it has a track record, and it won't disappoint. And Friday, Eat, Pray, Kill, also back, and it's cool and you should check it out.
The premonition may have been just the LSD I spiked her drink with, but, you know.
Oh, shoot. Well, if these predictions hold true, then we're going to need to talk about future dosing opportunities.
It's going to be a very interesting session, folks.
But I don't know what's going to happen because we play to find out what happens. So speaking of what happens, hey, what happened last time? I mean, I can just launch into recap type stuff, or people could also mention cool moments that happened. Those are also things we can do. There was that big airship battle that finished up. You're first as the crew of the newly rebuilt Calamity Jane. You impressed Lady Joan and her entourage of chivalrous robots. You came to the aid of Captain Sawyer and the Bluebell, the Texan cargo Zeppelin.
We stripped one ship of all of its supplies and then lost that ship to Joan and her robots.
Trade it.
Trade it.
For some badass trees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right.
Did we name the airship on Twitter? I think that we had a poll going.
Yeah, and in universe, you don't know what that name is because they hadn't finished naming it before you left.
Okay.
So when you meet them again,
no spoilers.
yeah.
Unless you're on Twitter, in which case it's already spoiled.
I hope you like the Runaways.
Yeah, you. So they have a ship now. You guys have some new crew members because Getty, being that compassionate badass that he is, offered some of the pirates the opportunity to join up or be given the backpack deal, where you hand them a weapon and some food and send them on their way. Yeah, and then you all sailed back to Hill City with the Bluebell behind you so it can stop and get some repairs. Back from your first successful salvage run to Rapid City. So
We learned a little bit more about the world. The world of Duluth, which is apparently run by some sort of pirate slaver operation of evil. And you know how I feel about evil, guys. I'm just saying it may come up with my boot up his ass at some point.
at some
point.
I get the feeling the general concept of Duluth is causing you a mighty bit of discomfiture.
I am very angry about Duluth.
I might need to go full King Harold on them.
I don't understand that reference.
King Harold was killed in the Great Battle by an arrow to the eye.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
1066. Know
Yeah.
your British history, y'all.
Those deep archery
I
I should have known that. Jesus.
Yeah, I totally misunderstood. I thought you were the King Harold.
Oh no.
In that,
Ah.
in that story, that has a
No.
different meaning.
You said
Yeah.
you were going to go King Harold. So, like, I was thinking in my head, did King Harold do something to somebody else? Because the way you constructed that sentence...
I mean, he totally messed up the entirety of his country by splitting forces way too early. But yeah.
You don't want to do that.
No.
No.
You never split the party.
Yeah.
You never split the party.
Whether you're playing at the small group level
Or the thousands and hundreds of thousands of lives level.
like when you're
I
like
don't care.
level 16 in first edition, like, and you have
Yeah.
to do the big battles. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That's
hey,
what
we're
you
not
do.
level 16.
Yes.
in first edition. We're playing in fifth edition, and you all just hit third, which means for the majority of you, Monica picked Fenix subclass last level because druids get to do that at second. But everyone else picked up a specialty for their class, which I think we're just going to introduce in scenes. So first, there is a triumphant return to Hill City, back over the forested hills, in between Hill City and Rapid City. One a large town and one a small city in them Dakota states. It's it's very similar to scene to when you returned from the first leg of your shakedown cruise to Keystone, where you met the big psychic cat and its animal entourage, in that the whole town's once the watchtower spots you, the whole town turns out to watch you come and help you land and offload and those sorts of things. So.
Wait until they see the wicked tree.
Oh yeah, so it's the same thing. Go ahead and throw a piloting check for me, Corwin, for Theo's mad skills. I just want to see. The stakes here are whether you accidentally bump something, or everything's fine, or everything is just right.
Okay.
Like chef kiss landing.
Or you roll a 1 and everyone dies.
Don't say that.
I'm not going to put that on the table this session.
TPK.
Wasn't a 1.
Do you need new dice?
I think I need new dice. It wasn't a 1.
Stop blaming your dice. Come on, man. It just happens. Sometimes you're just going to roll a 1. In fact, there's a 1 in 20 chance.
Yeah. Well, the good news is that your townsfolk that are there to help you land, your crew is standing by at their stations in the cargo hold, and they toss down the mooring lines, and you start to drift a little bit off to the side, and then you get reeled in and cinched tight as you set the engines to do their counter-rotating thing to stabilize.
Just to be clear, it was a 2.
Oh, a total of a 2, or is that what you rolled?
That's what I rolled. Total would be a 6.
Oh, that's not a lot better than a 2. Okay. Just totally fine. But you notice...
Maybe a 7?
As the moment... you have a moment of panic, probably, as, things start to slip away from you.
Yep.
And then as soon as it's under control and you're settling down through the smashed windows of the bridge of the Calamity Jane, you spot Rose in the crowd. Actually, Rose is up on the watchtower, the supplementary one they built after this airship a year ago crashed into the old one. And just the briefest eye contact and the small shake of her head.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we're also looking a little wrecked.
Yeah, you are looking pretty wrecked. The Calamity Jane did take a bunch of damage. Has suffered several major collisions in the previous battle. So,
I've definitely gone for the open air look on the bridge currently.
The open air look.
Yeah.
What is that?
The aesthetic where there are no windows, there's just open air.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Got
wind's blowing through his hair. He looks like Beyonce all the time.
There's slightly more scarves than necessary tied to things, just so there's that flowing effect.
Here you go.
I love it. Right. But like before, settle down. Those big boxcar doors on the sides of the cargo bay roll open, and there is a gasp through the crowd as they see that you brought a tree
With an iguana around it.
Yeah, with this horse-sized iguana, mostly iguana lizard.
Chameleon iguana friend.
Just cuddled up around that. This is a small one too. There wasn't really room for a really big, fully developed one.
Oh.
So
The tree, not the iguana.
The tree. No,
Okay.
the full-size iguana is the one that came with.
Okay.
Just in terms of how much room you have to carry things. So it wraps around 1.5 times is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Did we name the iguana? Was there a Twitter poll on the iguana issue?
There's no Twitter iguana name.
No one
No.
cared. Oh, that's sad.
Guys, get on that.
Get to work.
At the break, whoever gives us the most money gets to name the iguana.
Or
That's just how it goes.
Or just vote.
Or also just toss suggestions into chat, which
Yes.
we'll also be happy to check. But supporting the stream is also very welcome. Thank you.
We love donations.
So yeah, they excitedly just start hauling things out, as well as the many crates of salvaged hospital supplies that old coot and his wife had piled up for you. So
Yep.
yeah,
Porsche and Porsche.
yes,
Yes.
Papa Porsche and Mama Porsche, or Porsche and Porsche, scavengers at large, perhaps, if they had an office.
And some
It's a
wonderful business
Business
cards.
Oh yeah,
It's a family business.
like hand lettered, because we couldn't find a working press, so it had to be
I
hand
feel
lettered.
like they'd be on metal.
Ooh, it would be,
Stamp them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but no two would be from the same sheet of metal,
No. All junk metal.
right?
It doubles as like a product sample
Yeah.
thing.
This
Look
is
what
stuff we
can
find.
find.
Oh, and also the Bluebell is coming in, and it's like doing way worse than the Calamity Jane, because like it had gotten really wrecked by the pirate ship, the Mako, before you rescued it. So it's just coming in like really low, and it's not exactly smoking, but its engines don't sound as healthy, and so.
It's doing that Millennium Falcon, the hyperdrive is
Yeah,
working.
the
Toot noise, yeah.
Yeah, that one. So the radio crackles on the bridge. There isn't yet a suitable ground radio in Hill City. They put the good radio on the airship.
I haven't built a new one yet.
Yeah. Well, like you need the parts and stuff. So
Get some crystals, but it's just time.
yeah. Well, and also strong enough because radio's harder because of radiation now. So I'm saying there will be some roles and expenditure of resources involved. It crackles, and it's Captain Sawyer who says like, well, you let us know when they've got us a parking spot.
Okay. I'll go send some runners out to. Does someone turn on the internal comm system? Does someone want to let them know to clear space so the Bluebell can come in?
I'll do it.
Yeah, so all of your mentors and important people show up in the crowd, and they're not actively engaged in helping unload things, although certainly Deputy Mayor Flanagan is there coordinating, as well as Rose coordinating sort of the Rangers on watch and helping tote things. But notably, Sheriff Johnson wanders up. She doesn't really wander. She strolls. That old patrol woman's confident stride, and finds Yolanda as you're coming off the ship, and says, "Well, looks like you got into a tussle up there."
A bit, but we came out with more ammunition than we left with. So you know it couldn't have been that bad.
I'm impressed. What kind of trouble did you run into?
Pirates. One might even say skyrates.
She stops, and then she chuckles. Raiders of the Sky, huh?
Yeah. Apparently they're working for some slaver up in Duluth. They're running a bunch of pirate ships out of there, as far as we can tell.
Well, that tracks with what Captain Perry told us back when he gave us the ship. Great Lakes area, those barrens. Well,
Also, Lando, I'm assuming you took the letter of marque from Lord Stephen Duluth to show
Yes.
to the sheriff.
And look, they fancy themselves some sort of privateers.
she gets her reading glasses out and puts them on and like sizes it up and says, "Lord Almighty, they think they have proper paperwork and everything." I know you're a smarter girl than this, but we do not recognize the validity of this Lord Stephen or his trumped up brethren.
No. But Dr. Getty offered a place in our town to a couple of the several of the Skyrates, and several of them turned him down. And so they're off walking with a some backpacks and some knives, but you should know we've got 2 newcomers that we'll want to keep a special lookout for.
She goes still. It's like, how many?
2 new ones.
2. I'm gonna go have a conversation with the doctor.
Yes.
Well, expect your report on my desk by tomorrow. Good work, soldier. She claps you on the back, which is a bit of a stretch for her because she is much shorter than you.
It's, upper lower back.
Yeah. Yeah, and wanders off. Also, so Grandma Guy is there, as well as Fennec's dad, and they both are like, well, your dad is like doing a little bit of the hop up and down, like he's so excited, not because trees are his thing, but because they're your thing, and he's very proud of you right now. While Grandma Gaia is not emoting as much, but you can tell it's because she's so excited. She's like trying to keep her composure. Because she has a bit of a rep around here. She has to keep that mystique. And she's the one who says, what do we have here?
Well, we found a tree that makes... What? Wait, it makes...
A rubber latex hybrid.
It makes a rubber latex hybrid. And also there's bioenergy that comes from the trees, but the iguana can tell you more about that.
As you're talking, she's gone up to the specimen, which for now just sort of got put off to the side and out of the way while the crates and stuff are getting unloaded. Mm-hmm. And she's in there, she's like up against the bark and smelling, and like she breaks a leaf and is absent-mindedly petting the iguana while she's inspecting like the branches and stuff like that. Oh, well, does he... and then the iguana has moved his head over and swiveled his big eye. And she says, well, do you speak English? To which the iguana doesn't say anything. Mm-hmm. And then she asks, in a couple more human languages, like you recognize a snatch of German and a bit of French. The iguana, nothing. She looks back at you. How am I supposed to ask the iguana how it works?
Oh, my dad knows how to talk to the iguana, but I can ask too.
Okay, we'll work it out, but because you're needed here, and she reaches over and pats the closest wall of the cargo hold.
Uh-huh.
I guess we'll work it out. I have just the place in mind. Come. And she starts walking away without figuring out how the tree and like the other shrubs and stuff you brought are going to be transported. And your dad like looks back and forth and then tries to pick up the tree, but like it's way too big for one person to pick up. And then he runs over and he does pick you up and hugs you. And then he goes off to find some like strapping young people to help cart these things away.
Okay.
So Getty, Deputy Mayor, is there with his work crew.
I feel
yeah.
feel like Grandma Gaia's husband would also be there to help move the tree because he helps with a lot of these things.
Oh, sure. That's a really good point.
Because it's probably going to be planted in her area because she has the main like agricultural area.
Right, and definitely like the nursery for experimenting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he probably owns a wheelbarrow.
Definitely.
So while your dad is
At
like
the very least.
trying to pick up the tree, and then he picks you up, and then he picks up a shrub, and like starts to walk with it, is when Mr. Gaia comes with up with a few youngsters who is like brought along, and they have like a cart.
Yeah.
And they start doing all that. So Getty, Deputy Mayor's there. So how was Rapid City? Looks like productive, and he gestures up at the damage on the CJ And he says, and complicated. And then he gestures at the Bluebell holding station over the trees, and social?
And violent, I'm afraid. Quite violent. How's the boy?
Well, I figured you didn't, I mean, Theo might be, like that ranger boy you have flying is new at this, but he's not incompetent.
Did Biscuit give you any trouble?
Oh, no, Biscuit was great. He started going through the those other RVs and trailers you brought back. He's been cataloging everything inside.
Good.
He asked me to help check his homework, and I told him to wait till you get back.
Okay, well, I'll have to deal with that, but unfortunately, I think that's going to have to wait. We got to talk about a few things, and is the sheriff at any point making eye contact with me at this point?
This is while that conversation happened, so like that'll come up in a little bit later.
So she might glance over at you as I do this one at you.
You see the sheriff as she has her glasses on, as inspecting the so-called letter of marque.
I got to get this out of the way now, Flanagan, because it's going to become an issue very quickly, I take it. We had prisoners. We had a few prisoners. 2 of them I deemed too violent to be reintegrated into anything resembling polite society, and we left them out in the barrens with a knife and a backpack full of goods, because we're not monsters and we don't execute people. And there are 2 who, well, I think they might have a shot. They're young. They got probably bullied into this life. I've been out there. I've seen how it goes. You don't choose a life like this unless you've got nothing left. One of them is up and about and has been amiable enough in terms of helping us load cargo, and the other one is currently in a slab in my RV. I don't know how you want to play this, but the rest of the crew I was with wanted to put a bullet in them. Yeah, it's a lot.
And he does a half turn.
And I said, this needs to
paces a little bit.
And I say loudly, this needs to become a civil matter before it becomes a security matter. And if it becomes a security matter, the security decision will be to kill them.
Now, we don't want to jump to conclusions about what the sheriff would recommend. And he looks up as the sheriff looks over at you, with one of those looks that's just like a bad news look. And then he says, on the other hand, okay, I'll go to bat for you.
Thank you.
And as the sheriff walks over, he says, Cindy, heard about the prisoners. Yeah, that's right, Colin, I heard about the prisoners. Just so you know, it's going to come to you in a little bit. For now, the crew has offered to keep them on the ship and take responsibility for them until we work out what to do in the council. And he looks over at you he's done a half circle around behind the sheriff, just so she can look at both of you at the same time. And he looks over at you and gives you a sad, apologetic shrug.
And noticing the shrug, I'll turn straight to the sheriff and say, to be more specific, I will take responsibility for them. Last time I checked, my word was good for something around here.
And she.
Do you want me to make any kind of roll for this?
No. This is stuff that's all on your sheet. There's nothing that can go wrong here necessarily. She actually pats. You see her rub old wound that she has that you helped dress years ago. And she says, "Yeah, you do good work. All right, keep a good eye on him until we bring this up with the council."
For what it's worth, the 2 we left out there, that was also my call. I'm not stupid.
And she nods in a yeah, you're not stupid, Doc sort of way. Theo, I assume once everything's off,
I'll probably be running an extended checklist since we
Yeah.
took damage during the fight, but I'm guessing Rose would probably come and talk to me on the bridge.
Yeah, Rose shows up with Rusty.
With Rusty?
And Rusty says, "Hey, Theo, your old lady wants to talk to you.
Okay.
Don't worry, I'll take over from here." And he takes
Hand over the clipboard. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of an interesting term that Rusty used there. How does Rose feel about being referred to as, one, an old lady, and two, Theo's old lady?
Rusty's a robot. He may not understand that old lady has connotations that imply a marital relationship.
That's a great question, Holly. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted you to spend some more time having NPCs talking to each other.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I am regretting level 3, like a little bit, not all the way, just a little bit.
Welcome to Dungeons and Dragons, folks.
Yeah.
Would it help if we got you sock puppets?
I think there is a certain thing that would help, but I don't think that thing is the show itself. So,
We have a plethora of plush animals here for you to choose from.
that's true. I'll need to.
I feel like Rose is maybe that pink thing down there. Is it like a unicorn dragon?
Sure.
That's her, like Patronus form
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah,
Spirit.
and Rusty's more of a dodo. Tell us
I
a story.
so as Rusty says, "Old lady," Rose chuckles. Pats him on the shoulder as he pushes past with one of her gloves that has studs in it. And so there's a bit of a clank clank.
Kink, kink.
And says, "Take a walk with me, Theo."
Take a walk with me, Theo. Okay.
And she leads you back through the ship and up through the envelope, through the up the ladder that'll take you to the top, where there's the walkway with the 2 firing platforms or observation stations at either end. And it sort of has the effect of like, oh, we're on like a balcony, like in a big building looking out over the scene. And indeed, you're looking out over the scene of the ship being unloaded, as well as a lot closer to where the Bluebell is hovering, 100 yards away that way.
So after stripping everything down, I figured we could put one of the rocket launchers up here.
One of the what now?
Oh yeah, I was just telling you all about it. Were you fading out? Yeah, we got a couple of rocket launchers, rocket launcher batteries. We got some extra mounted machine gun, an extra mounted machine gun. We're locked and loaded.
Well, all right. I was going to ask you about what the hell was up with that big lizard wrapped around that tree.
I left that thing to Fennec. Fennec seemed to be comfortable talking to it. So
That's
yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
Tell me about who you met.
Okay. Yeah. So
What's up with these guys? She says, pointing up at the Bluebell.
Okay, I thought I sent Getty to go confirm that they could go ahead and land, but yeah, they're a local trading ship. Well, they're a trading airship that's in from Texas, and we encountered some pirates in combat, and the pirates at the time were chasing these guys. I figured this is a great opportunity to make some friends across the country. We get a reputation for being a place that helps out. Maybe other places will help us out.
At this point, she has produced from under her cloak a stoppered bottle of spruce beer that she passes to you.
We don't even break conversation.
Oh, yeah.
It's just as soon as she hands me the bottle, I take a swig and she says whatever she's going to say next.
And she says, okay, I heard a little whisper of about some robots on the way in. Something about some kind of knights in armor business.
Yeah. Yeah, they were. I mean, they're like more like Rusty, you know. They seem to be the good ones, but they seem to have it together, and they really have this weird obsession with the Robertian order, and they seem to really focus in on like heraldry and knight-esque things.
Well, there's worse ways to put a crew together, I suppose.
But their commander, Lady Joan of Manhattan, and it's here somewhere. Manhattan and another place. Seems really, really nice and well connected. She actually gave us a letter of writs to show. Apparently, this is a international organization, so could be possible we'll have friends in other places.
She has taken the bottle back, and as you have described this strange android society more and more, she has taken slightly longer sips on it.
It's like the opposite of a talking stick. Whenever someone's ready to say something, they just hand it to the other person.
Right. Well,
I like this batch, by the way. Good job with this batch.
oh yeah, I forget who made it. I just found it behind the bar at the lodge. Take a bottle, leave a bottle. That's how it is.
Yep.
Well, I'll be damned. How's Peregrine doing?
He's doing good. He's, to be honest, as useful as he is for observation and scouting, he's been caught out of his element and has taken damage so many times. I'm really starting to worry about him.
Well, you want to, I don't know, stitch some armor onto him, or?
Yeah, I was thinking about taking the shop for a couple of days, if you don't mind, of course.
No, not
Just
at all.
seeing if I can do some rework for him. Make him more compatible and combatable with the ship.
At the wordplay, she grins, and she says, okay. And in a very sort of Rose fashion, she just turns around and goes back down the ladder. Like
You
she's
forgot
done
your...
talking.
Never mind.
No, I didn't.
Oh. What was that?
Deputy Mayor Flanagan has made the arrangements. As you're coming back down through the structure, you can hear Rusty in the cockpit on the radio. Well, first he's having a shouted conversation through these shattered, completely missing windows of someone shouting up. And then he's on the radio and he's relaying to the Bluebell that they're supposed to go to the south end of town and park on the roof of the high school.
Okay.
It's like, no, you'll know when you see it. Nope, there'll be a bunch of people jumping up and down and waving. I swear. All right, see you soon.
So Rusty, how's it all looking?
Yeah. Sorry, I thought you were going to ask if Rusty has it all in hand. He totally does. He's got the radio controls with one hand, and he's got the clipboard propped up on his knees while he's actively writing with the other hand. Everything's fine, Theo.
Okay.
I got this.
Okay, I'll leave you to it.
Thanks. All this, any waves that, you can totally hear the large sound of the crowd working outside, again, through these completely gone windows. That's not really my scene.
I know what you mean.
And he doesn't say anything of that, but there's the bit haha, I won because I'm doing the work, and you have to go talk to people instead. Yeah.
I think I'm just going to go down to the shop. You need anything in the next couple of days, come and let me know.
Sure. I'll be here. Cool. So before trouble finds you, does anyone have anything they actively want to do in town?
I got something I gotta take care of before anything else, but I'll wait because it's the Cameron scene.
Ah, yes.
So
that is the trouble that I was speaking of. Not trouble, but
Well, I imagine the very next thing I do would hit the intercom and ask him to come to the RV, but I'll do that after anybody else wants to do something.
sure. Also, the RV is in the same cargo hold as all the haul you brought back. So did you want to wait until everyone's cleared out of there, or were you not worried about the timing?
Cameron's now not supposed to leave the ship, so I better do this now.
Okay.
All right. I walk up to an intercom. I guess right after this conversation, you see me walk in. I grab the intercom and kind of look at you for a moment and you all right?
Yeah, I'm going to go work on Peregrine. I'll catch you in a bit. If you need anything, let me know.
Right as he's walking out, I go on the intercom. Cameron, please report to the RV. Cameron, please report to the RV.
A few minutes later, Cameron's there. He's got, like, his current outfit is like, before he had a jumpsuit that had armor layered over it, and it was black. But, like, he's unzipped it halfway and tied it around his waist, and it just has, like, a scrubby, grubby, grease-stained white shirt underneath it. And he's, like, stripped the other sharp sort of insignias and paraphernalia off the legs. Yeah, and he just has like his regular tools on a sling over his shoulders.
What are you doing?
All right, and he's looking through, like, the doors are like, people are still coming in and out and moving things, and a few of them like spare a glance towards him. Like, is this inside the RV or right outside the
I
RV?
figure we're by the door at this point. I'm gonna close the door.
Okay, so a few people like looked at the newcomer, but like
Yeah.
not with malice or anything. Like, they don't really know who he is yet.
Well, I got good news. I got bad news. Bad news ain't too bad, so don't feel like you need to clench your asshole or anything like that. You're fine. You're fine. Good news is there's not going to be any trial. There's not going to be any BS. We're not kicking you out again. I've actually already talked to the deputy mayor. In fact, you're fine. And I point towards the gentleman currently in the slab. I forget this guy's name, but you got to remind me. But
Did I give him a name?
You didn't.
Think I didn't. That's right. Aurelio.
And Mr. Aurelio here is still unconscious, so he's not been an active problem, but he basically gets the same protection so long as he turns out to be as amiable as you. The bad news is until everyone talks about it, they're going to ask you to stay on the ship, maybe a day.
Were all of the Skyrits male?
On that crew, they were, yeah.
That's weird.
Not unheard
Warren's
of, but
easier.
What?
Warren is maybe.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Yeah,
I
it's
feel
true.
like anybody can be a whore.
That's true. Guys, I want you to remember that. Follow your dreams. Anyone can be a whore.
Don't dream that, be it.
You just got to believe in yourself and just tap into that deeper power.
Or have someone else tap into that deeper power for you.
That's actually kind of how it can work for you.
Yeah.
Or tap into other people's deeper power.
Whatever they're paying for.
So after I say this, I'll grab a bottle of
I love you guys, by the way.
Yeah.
I'll grab the aforementioned bottle of bourbon, pour a shot, drink.
Sure, he grabs it like a little too quickly. Like, throw an insight check at this guy.
Okay. 20.
20? Yeah. You can read his his tells really easily. Like, his inner monologue is like running across his forehead practically. He grabs at it a little too quickly, like he is putting out a lot of outward composure, but like he feels incredibly stressed to be adjacent to a bunch of people that until a day ago he was like, oh, these are my victims. These are, my reverse clientele. He's shaky.
Slow down, son. Slow down. There's more where that came from for starters. Two, it ain't no fun unless you enjoy it, so.
Oh. Okay. He's a little weirded out still. For all that you talk a really good game, it's going to probably take him a bit to believe you about this stuff. Like, this hospitality you're showing him is weirding him out. But he's along for the ride because you're the one who's calling the shots, so. And he murmurs a thanks and slowly sips. Says, so, I mean, I'm fine staying on the ship.
It's probably just for tonight.
Okay.
I'll have some dinner run out to you.
Okay.
There's a spare bunk.
Sure. I mean, should I stay and look after Aurelio?
It might be best. You any good with medicine?
I pulled bullets out before without, further complications.
No infection? You clean the wounds?
Well, I mean, we mostly cleaned them. We got a line on some really good antibiotics back in Duluth. Like,
You thought to do that?
yeah. And he, like, with an air of he's quoting somebody who he heard before, he says, Doctor, we were pirates, not barbarians.
I knew he was gonna say that.
That's pretty good. Okay. Well, you're a pirate. You seem to notice that you're not green. You don't seem to have any scurvy. You get your vitamin C?
Yeah, we can pick up pills or fresh fruit or, whatever our prizes had.
Stay right there. I start rifling through one of the cabinets, and I pull out a tattoo kit, like a tattoo practice mat.
Sure.
Say, give me some stitches. Just make 10 stitches, and I'll be right back. And I'll leave, and we'll just pick up some other scene.
Sure. Yeah. So. So, Holly. Lando's back at the sheriff's office. I'm assuming a lot. So, the sheriff is going to want, like, a written report, like an after-action report of the fight and all that stuff, and, like, your assessment of these people you met. She said by tomorrow, but is Lando the type to get it done, or is Lando the type to get it done by when?
Get it done, because I have to handwrite this. So it might take a little while, and might have to write 2 versions if I want to go back and make edits and.
Sure. Would you do this at home, or would you do this at the sheriff's office?
The sheriff's office.
Okay.
Be there. Be official.
So it's a little while later, like a half hour or an hour later. You're there. There's more than just her desk, but actually, you're one of her most trusted lieutenants. So you're allowed to use her desk if you want when she's not there. Is that what you're doing? Okay, so the door kind of bangs open and she grumps in.
All right, stand up.
And puts her rifle on the hook by the door, takes her summer jacket off and hangs it up on the other hook by the door. She says, "Nah, go ahead. Stay seated." And she pulls up the guest chair and puts her elbows on the room-facing side of her desk and looks up at you and says, "Tell me what you think about these prisoners. What is with this situation? Why are they still alive, Yolanda?"
Getty is a doctor. He believes in conserving life at all possibilities. And he believes in mercy, even though Cameron, the one who's awake, I did tell him to surrender. He surrendered, and then he started attacking again Finnick after I left. So that didn't put it on the best terms. I don't know anything about these guys or what their situation is. They might be great guys. My only question is that Getty feels like he can just look them in the eye and make that determination on his own. I tend to think that perhaps there should be a little bit more of a formal process to it where these people are able to make their case before, I don't know, some sort of group of people, a jury perhaps, and have it be a decision made by the community rather than just Getty, who he's never really been fully one of us. He's still got one foot out with his caravan in a lot of ways, and I don't know. It rubs me a little bit the wrong way that he's single-handedly deciding who joins our community. When I was a child and I came, and my mom who came with me, she didn't just, "Hi, how's it going?" There were questions, and she had to prove her worth, and we didn't like just come in and join immediately, and that's how it's always been. And suddenly Getty's just like, you're part of Hill City.
As you were talking, her eyes drifted a bit, and she got up, and there's a pitcher of like sun tea on her desk, and she pours herself a glass, and she goes to the window, like the barred window that looks out over Main Street, watching the people go by. So she says, still looking out the window, and she says, I remember when we found you and your mama.
And what was left to my dad.
We talked, Mayor and me, Grandma, the others, about whether to let you into the town or send you back on your way. But everyone knew it was really up to me. Because they trusted my judgment as to whether little baby Yolanda and her mom, who wasn't quite all there. Now, you weren't threats.
Deidre.
Oh, she knows your mom's name.
Okay, just letting Andrew know.
You weren't threats, and I figured you could eventually be useful. I'm rambling. The point is it was up to me, and ultimately, on that ship, which is a little part of our town, you take into the sky with you, you're the one with the axe. You're the one who assesses threats. Ultimately, it is up to you. And it is better to talk. It is better to get consensus. But you have to keep that little piece of our town safe, just like all of us keep this bigger part down here safe too. So tell me, what do you think about these two boys you brought back?
Haven't barely even spoken to them.
Besides to tell them to surrender multiple times, and then they still try to kill us.
Well, okay. You figure out how to figure it out, because I don't think this is going to be the last time. It's going to be up to you.
That was like a fennec bird in your
Yeah.
head. I'm so sorry.
No, I was like, I did.
Because sometimes they'll be like you. Sometimes they'll be like those bastards we saved you from. And I guess there's some of them in the middle. I guess the middle ain't that bad. Well, remember, by morning, and she sets her half-done thing of sun tea down and grabs her coat and her gun, and she's back out the door.
Sheriff.
Soldier. She's out. Sheriff out. Patch drop. So do you go with to help get the tree planted and everything, or?
Well, we have the tree, and we also have the other bits of plant that I want to explain to Grandma Gaia.
Right.
Let her know where I got them, what soil they were in.
And she's in asking all sorts of questions, like, oh, what do you think like the salinity was, and what do you think the composition was, and like she's asking you more esoteric questions, like, did it have more of a this taste to it or that taste to it? And you totally understand what those questions mean.
And you have the soil samples.
And
she
I
can
have
taste
soil
it herself.
samples,
Oh, yeah, so she's asking, and then she's like, oh, okay, yeah, no, we can, that's not so different from what's here. I wonder why they grew so differently up there.
Well, the iguana specifically said that they grow differently because they have some sort of symbiotic relationship with the iguana or chameleon. I'm not exactly sure. Strange large lizard.
Fennec, I am confident that this is something new. She says, reaching over and also, again, absentmindedly petting the lizard. Which she, like, takes 2 steps to the left as you all are walking down the path towards her grove. Like, 2 steps to the left to get close enough to the cart to pet the lizard that's on the tree. Fennec, you've got a knack that I don't. And that's, you can actually talk to critters. And they can understand you. And you can understand them. And I can hear and see more than I did, back when I was a younger woman, before the whirlwind changed, but they still just sound like critters to me. So I'm gonna need your help.
Okay.
Translating for this scruffy guy here, and she's found like a spot under the chin. The lizard's just loving it. Just slowly, cold-bloodedly leaning into the scritch.
I'm pretty sure my pal can talk to them too if you need his help while I'm not here.
Is that so? And she looks over at your dad. Who's like, I mean, I can make a go at it. Okay. Boy, I'll try.
I mean, I figured you were talking to them when you were doing. I mean, you help out with all the animals in town, and animals come to you all the time. I assume you had some sort of bond with them.
Well, little Fennec, there's bonds, and then there's what you have.
Oh.
Which is definitely something much different.
Oh.
And special. So,
I didn't know that.
I'll tell you what, you get talking to this lizard, and I'll write things down, and Grandma Gaia can ask the questions, and we'll work it out.
Okay.
At this point, you're at the grove, and they're like digging out a spot for. She's like, I know just the spot. There. Isn't there already a? Move it. And like these youngsters that got like press ganged into helping moving things are like, this wasn't part of the. And Grandma Gaia's husband like gives them a glowery look. And they're like, all right, and they get shovels and work on that.
Okay. Do they want me to translate for the lizard about how we should do this process, or?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
they do.
Wonderful. I will do that.
Like the lizard's already talking while they start digging.
Okay.
And do you speak with animals?
Yeah.
So like as that comes online, like you pick it up in mid-sentence as it's like, and
Yeah.
then you have to very carefully make sure that it's little, and it uses a lizard word that like means both like long iguana ito and like long reaching root of a tree. Like you just pick up the context.
Yeah.
It has to be nicely settled and deep in the soil. We don't have to go through the whole thing, but it's totally.
When I first try to say this out loud, I'm saying it in lizard, so everybody gets very confused.
Yes. Definitely. And then they're like, English, please. Like, oh.
Recalibrate.
It can't speak with humans.
It gives you these full instructions on how to safely transplant these specimens that you brought back. None of the advice that it gives you is anything you didn't already know.
Yeah.
Because he's an iguana, not a botanist.
No.
You don't know that. You don't live his life.
Not an iguadaner.
Not an iguaner. Oh.
Can I find out what the lizard wants for, like, while he's here? Like, what can we do for the lizard to make him comfortable?
He just wants to hang out and
Okay.
and meet these trees and find out what there is to eat around
Okay.
here.
Yeah. So Dad, he especially likes birds because he can't catch them. Most of the things he can catch are like small rabbits and things that are going to be on the ground, but I don't know if we want him to be eating our rabbits and chickens or not. So we probably want to keep that in mind.
So while you speak, the iguana can kind of understand you because you've got your spell active. And he pipes in like, "Oh, rabbits are great. Small, furry, scaly things. Sometimes they give me stomach problems, but you know, that's how we learn, right?"
Okay, so I'll say that to my pop.
Okay. Who pats his pockets and pulls out a little notebook and, okay, I'll try this and I'll try that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're all getting summoned.
I just want to chime in, by the way, that iguanas are largely herbivores.
Yes.
Some do eat meat, so like fruit. You dig on fruit.
Maybe that would improve his digestion.
Maybe.
Tip to you guys out there too.
Yeah, you want to make sure. You want to make sure you get your fried fruits and veg. Okay. I am very pro hamburger. I'm very pro pizza, but you cannot live in those things alone.
If he eats more dragon fruit, will he turn into a dragon? Is that how this lizard works?
This is Pokemon. You gotta,
That's a good question.
Evolve.
dun 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 dun.
So you've been each sent a summons that in the morning there is going to be a council meeting again. Again at the mayor's homestead, like right outside the walls outside of town. So is there any business that anyone wants to handle before that?
I think I should go and interview the Skyrits, the former Skyrits, for Skyrits. But before, in order to feel like I'm doing my due diligence vis-a-vis the sheriff.
Is one of them still unconscious?
Yeah.
So before that happens, I think before you finish writing up your report, you go back and check on Cameron's stitches.
What do Cameron's stitches look like?
They're kind of, the first 3 are rocky and the next 7 are solid.
Oh, this is not bad. In fact, might make a triage nurse out of you yet. You considered a change in career.
You know, Doc, and he found the bottle and he's obviously helped himself to a little bit more than you probably wanted him to.
I'm fine with that. The
you
bottle was left out for a reason.
You know, Doc, until
Did you find the tumblers, by the way?
yet, no.
That's okay. I left
Not
the bottle.
fancy.
I left the bottle here for a reason.
It's antiseptic.
Until about a day or so ago, I was really fine in the career position that I was in.
It's glamorous.
It was. But look, if this is what needs doing, then this is what I'll do. You spared my life. You show me what to do.
You want to be in an airship or you want to be on the ground?
I, like, very quickly, I would much rather be on the airship.
What about him?
He'd probably want to be on the airship, too.
What's Aurelio's deal?
Aurelio?
What can he do?
Well, he's better with these needles and stuff than I am. He pulls out, after a second of consideration, he, like, unzips a pocket and pulls out, like, a couple of the cool shark patches that he saved. He's like, yeah, this is his work.
Okay.
Yeah, it's nice, hand embroidered, like, dynamic 3/4 view of, like, a mako shark with the tail whipping around. The perspective's real good.
I think we've discovered the visionary of their motif.
Is Cameron more of a scrimshaw guy?
Yeah, yeah.
On human teeth.
Dun, dun, dun. And like,
Very
same as the
small.
rest of us, he can turn a bolt, he can shoot a gun,
That's really
he
all
can
you
read a
need.
map.
I get the distinct feeling that eventually someone's going to come and have an interview with the two of you. So, this magical thing called plot contrivance.
I was gonna say, do we want to like have Lando come in now, or do we want to have Lando come in after this?
Right after, because
Okay.
I'm about to make myself scarce. I would hold off on any more of this just to be safe until that interview is done. Let me check on Aurelio. I'm going to do a check on Aurelio to see if he's conscious.
Throw medicine up. Blah.
Survey says 15.
Oh, 15? Yeah, he's gonna be coming to any time now.
All right.
You can give him a little jolt now and talk to him now if you want.
Let's do that.
All right. A little wake up juice in his veins, and
Hi.
Is he still secured?
Yeah.
Okay.
Play it safe. Hi there.
Hey.
No need to be alarmed. Cameron, why don't you pour the man a shot?
Sure thing, Doc.
It's probably not the best thing to be doing, giving you alcohol after you've done an anesthetic, but what the hell?
He says, his voice still a little slurry from the long sleep. Like I have gone through worse ideas for fun.
What's the worst you've done? Say
And he like coughs a bit because harsh whiskey and all that.
I
Gonna
pat his cheeks.
Pat his cheeks, nice. He's like, and Cameron's like, it's okay. Like, tell him. And together they tell you the story of some crazy night out in Duluth. A lot of drugs, a lot of companionship, a few fights, followed by more drugs.
What kind of drugs?
They're real big on light hallucinogens and heavy stimulants.
I'm a fan of hallucinogens myself, though once I'm far away from an airship, so okay.
So you can offer him a job or not? Cameron asks.
I was getting to it. Figured I'd let him get a little more comfortable first. Your previous line of employment may not be the best option for you. Said ship has been given to killer robots who are friends with us. You're not going to be let back in Duluth. And we did treat a few of your other friends, but they didn't exactly seem the agreeable sort, so we gave them some provisions and let them on their way. I don't know you. I don't have any reason to hold anything against you. You want a new job?
He ponders for a second, and then he looks over at Cameron, and Cameron nods. And he says, oh, yeah, I'll try this out.
Hold up under the patches. This is you?
Like, there was a theme, man.
The captain. No. It's not about the shark thing. Although I'm very glad you were in the same place about the shark thing. But I mean this, and I start pointing towards little fine details in the embroidery.
He's like, oh, yeah, I got some books and some reference photos.
We'll take a look around. Can you guess my choice of profession? Although I'm sure the stethoscope gives it away.
Yeah. You're a medic?
No, I'm a doctor.
Sawbones? Oh, a doctor.
I'm an actual doctor.
Is he always wearing a stethoscope? Is that what's happening?
I have one right now because I'm in the lab. I'm not generally wearing a stethoscope.
Okay.
For
I don't
God's
think he
sake.
had one on when he boarded the enemy airship.
No, when I jumped through an air tunnel from...
Just coil the stethoscope around their neck and be like, submit!
It's me using... I swing the stethoscope and you just use it like a Indiana
I'm
Jones.
picturing combat medics with those nerd straps you can get for your glasses.
Yeah.
But for a stethoscope.
Exactly.
It's actually a suction cup and it will latch on the thing.
I put it and I take one of the little ear things. I take out, it's a little sharp thing.
Nice.
Multi-tool
So
stethoscope.
That's
So-
my thieves' tools.
he's like, okay, yeah, you're a doctor. Feels like I'm trying to remember what the injuries were on this guy, if it was the cat or the axe. We're going to say this one was scratched the hell up. It's like, well, you got me. He can't
How's
check
his
his
temperature?
wounds.
Does he have a fever?
Does he have, in fact, a cat scratch fever? Good question. The answer is no.
Well,
He compliments your work.
that's my work. And you could do work that good, and I'd be happy to teach you. I think that sounds fair.
Do I have to decide right now?
Well, I would say so. I'd give it maybe 30 minutes tops, probably less, before you get interviewed by somebody from the town you work for now. Just to make sure you're not going to, go axe crazy.
Cameron speaks up like, don't be an idiot, man. This is the best deal we're going to get. Okay, I'll take it.
There's perks, too. All the weed you can smoke. And that's when I get up and I start going toward the door.
He's like, we used to, he knows we used to have that. It's okay.
Just offering equitable compensation. I'm Dr. De La Cruz. We'll talk later. And I leave.
Hey, do I have to leave him strapped down?
Oh, no. But he stays in here for now.
Okay. And as you leave, you hear Cameron give Aurelio the rundown on like, all right, here's what we're not allowed to do.
Right before I close the door, I say, no only light activity for the next 24 hours.
Like a few seconds after the RV door bangs shut, you hear through the wall a distant, "Oh, thanks, Doc." So you're not there, or are you there when Yolanda walks up?
Good. You're right on time. I open the door.
Thank you. The sheriff asked me to do a bit of our own due diligence. You understand.
Absolutely. I'm going to go see my son.
Did you just say your son?
Biscuits, basically, yeah.
Oh.
When Yolanda walks into the trailer, the one who's standing goes flat against the nearest wall. He was in the middle of undoing the simple restraints that were on the one on the table. And the one on the table's like, "Hey man, wicked,
Gentlemen. Oh, you can continue. Undo them.
They're gonna take a second before they believe you."
Okay. So I understand that you gentlemen would like to join our fine community.
I knew this day would come.
So the one on the table is just frozen, and his face is just
Aurelio.
a rictus of fear. Like you can picture, like the black and white footage playing behind his eyes of like you laying to with the axe, swinging back and forth. The one standing isn't wearing a hat, but he pulls a hat, like a little cap, out of his back pocket so he can like sort of nervously hold his hat in his hands as he says, "Yes, ma'am, that's right." And he goes and puts a hand on the one on the table and says, like, "Both of us are going to be very well behaved, right?" Shake, shake, shake. "Sure."
What kind of poor behavior are you used to engaging in?
Being pirates.
But for fun.
Getting in fights. Taking what we want from townsfolk if they don't give us trouble. I don't know if we're supposed to abstain from anything. The doctor said we could have all the weed we could smoke.
You can, because that'll make you chill. And I would prefer you to be chill.
The one on the table's like, speaks up for the first time. "We'll be very chill, ma'am."
So, we have existed, our town, as long as we have, because we value our secrecy, our closeness, and our order. Will you be part of our order?
Yes. Shake, shake, shake. "Yes, ma'am."
What will happen, do you think, if I find out that you've laid a hand upon one of your fellow townspeople against their wishes?
There's a pause while, again, scenes of imagined horror play across both of their faces. And at the same time that the one standing says, "The axe," the one on the table says, "The cat."
You seem like very wise people. And we can always use a strong back and a good sailor. But remember, you're here out of the mercy of the doctor. And his mercy doesn't reach past my axe.
They're not quite sure what to make of that, but they are
It's a
not
mixed
going to
metaphor.
interrupt you
It's good.
for questions
Alrighty,
because
so
they're
I would like
nakedly afraid of
to
you.
roll, I guess, insight to see if my words have taken, if my words, how can I say, have truly inspired them or only inspired them to lie further.
Insight would be just the right skill for this.
What about in the intimidate skill, which she has yet to roll?
She already rolled a really good intimidate check earlier. It took the form of several successful attack rolls and high damage rolls.
Oh, yes, yes.
in a
okay.
previous session.
Okay,
it
that's
looked
good.
like murdering them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was the axe and the cat.
They died, and now they're not dead.
I undeaded them.
You undid it them. Alrighty. Oh, I only got a 7.
So what a 7 tells you, and that's after bonuses and stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
Do you get any advantage in the situation, given the whole prepped room and everything?
I don't know. Do I?
the prepped room, how would that give?
We've been keeping them. We've been
Intimidated and isolated and
cowed
I don't
and
Other things that end in added.
idded.
liquored up,
Is there advantage for Sheila is with her?
liquored up and still groggy from
Previously
anesthetic.
intimidated.
They were previously intimidated. Well, this is on the inside, so like the
Yeah, okay.
prepped room wouldn't necessarily make you more insightful.
That's true.
Trying to gun for you. Just trying to gun for you.
I know, I appreciate it.
Good teamwork. Woo. So what they're really afraid right now. That's what's up with them. So you can tell their answers are coming from a fear response. With a 7 on that insight, right now you don't know if they're being genuine or if they're telling you what you want to hear so you don't kill them.
Well, I feel like they're genuinely afraid.
That
And
part,
I
very genuine.
feel like that fear may last a while. And so, maybe that'll take in their hearts.
Fear will
confidence.
keep the local sky pirates in line.
Yes.
Fear of this battle axe.
Just got raided. BB Wolf just raided us.
Oh.
Thank you.
Oh, shoot, we're getting raided in the very positive Twitch way.
Oh,
Oh. Oh.
Yeah, BB Wolf, thank you for the raid.
15 Darkstalkers.
We're gonna keep you
Let's keep
entertained
BB
with a bunch of
Wolf.
really tense town scenes.
Yeah. Yeah. Alrighty. Thanks, friends. And I know we're friends.
Oh, you're in there like you crossed the space.
I have crossed the space, put an arm on each of them, patted them very firmly, and let them know that we're friends and we're going to stay friends.
At this point, please make an intimidation check.
Okay. 12?
Okay. That just goes in my notes for later.
Yeah, of course.
I'm gonna let you wonder about that.
Yeah. I only wonder how many NPCs will die before I kill them back.
Well, we're gonna play to find out.
Yeah.
But when you go and pat them, they are both just like stock still. And like you can feel them relax slightly as you move back. If you move back,
Yeah. I held just like a creepy amount of time long and then moved back.
Nice.
All right. See you soon.
They
Shipmates.
the one standing. Thank you, ma'am. And you hear the table shake. Thank you, ma'am.
And I
You
step
leave.
out. Yeah.
You can almost hear the exhalation, like after the door closes through the walls of the RV. How do you feel about that?
Well, I do feel like their fear was so much I couldn't get much of a read, but as Getty says, everybody's been through tough times out there. I get it. They just if I find out that they have done something, I will take appropriate cautions and
All right. So like I was saying, you each got a summons, or someone came and found you and told you to be present at. Usually, a council meeting is like an evening thing, but this is a one over breakfast. It's a brunch council.
Are there mimosas?
No, where are they going to get champagne in the post-apocalypse?
Could have mead.
Yeah, for starters.
That's fair. There's usually some kind of light refreshment.
Don't worry, Rose and I make sure of that.
it's more of a Bloody Mary kind of party.
What about light and fruity? Sometimes you just want that, something that's just gonna make your tongue sparkle.
So is there any other business before we go to that?
Make your tongue sparkle is what I heard over there.
That's what I heard too.
I'm proud of it.
It was about-
I'm
yeah.
proud of it. I'm not gonna back down.
So we could make a nice gin and then combine some juices, like an orange juice or something.
Here we go.
So in your town, there actually isn't a lot of. You've been making booze for decades,
Yeah.
because that's how a lot of people cope. But grain is it's so water intensive and it takes up so much land. There's not a lot of it.
But
Okay.
potatoes,
Potatoes, though, absolutely.
vodka.
So anything
Vodka.
that grows on an easily harvested tree, or in the ground, like a
Or
potato.
like honey.
Honey also, yeah, honey's big here. So the Rangers are famous. The Rangers famously love mead. So.
I
Yeah, we do.
know Grandma Gaia's making mead.
Oh, she totally is. There's a
Different
few people.
botanicals.
There's a few people who are noted for having their own hives, and Grandma Gaia is definitely one of them. So. No.
As far
Oh.
as
We're gonna start fixing up Peregrine.
yeah, I'm assuming this is going to be a project of several days.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be doing that. However, I am also going to make a point of sitting down with the Rangers and showing them the extended charts and ship's log of the Mako, so that we have an idea of what's happening outside of the map that we have on the table.
Okay. So Rose and the other Rangers are very interested in that. So you're there. It's in the evening. When the door opens up and the main crew, the officer crew of the Bluebell comes in, and they stop when they see that everyone looks like a ranger in here, and Captain Sawyer doffs his cowboy hat and says, "Begging your pardon, I thought this was a bar."
Oh, come on in. I invited you on purpose. We want to know everything that you can tell us about the lands past what we know.
Oh. Well, all right. I guess it's fine. And then there's a
Someone
signal,
grabs them a drink.
and not only the main crew, which is I don't know, 4 to 6, another 8, just sort of deckhand rating kind of men and women come in and just start to crowd the space, which usually doesn't have this many people in it. And a couple of the Rangers are "Mrr," folding their arms and we're all these grumble, grumble, grumble outsiders, grumble, grumble, not Rangers. And Rose looks at you and says, "That was an interesting choice, Theo."
I know, but we need to learn as much as we can. Look, if we're going to be traveling around this land, we all need to know what we're looking out for, and I think Rangers are better at learning that information and better studying that information than the rest of the town usually is. Just make sure everyone knows to question them.
All right, I'll give them all their homework. And you see her go and sit briefly with each of the grumbly arms crossed Rangers, and she has her "I'm giving you an assignment" face on, wags her finger, and they huff over and just start grumpily interrogating these people who showed up for, I don't know, a night of relaxation and are like, what is with this old dude with a beard, like, grilling me about? And it's hilarious and, for the moment, not your problem.
And everyone else has drinks.
Yes. And they brought in some stuff from their ship stash as well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, until another one of their crew members comes in and is like, I found the actual saloon. At which point, the captain who's been talking to Rose turns around and is like, oh no, the party's here. And 4 of the deckhands stand up and they're like, let's check out that saloon. And, including one with that first old ranger who was grumpy.
Yep.
Like in the middle of his sentence, like this other guy's like, bye, gets up, walks out. Yeah, that's what's going on. But yeah, they're talking, they're answering your questions about what the world is like. All sorts of things. Think of some questions that you can ask me later that will flash back to this conversation.
Sounds
so you
great.
get like post facto lore dump.
Yep.
Awesome. Morning comes. You're at the mayor's, not estate, but like farmhouse just outside of town. It's like the council meeting that happened right before you went to Rapid City, which was like, I don't know, 3 whole days ago. And they go through some business. The guests here are the Captain Sawyer from the Bluebell, and one of the rangers who was sent to clear the route to Keystone, because you had made those diplomatic entreaties. And they go through just some regular business. They have you just read the report that you wrote for the sheriff, Lando, and they go into like a discussion that sort of just mirrors the discussion you had before, where they're just talking about what the needs of the town are and where you might be able to find these sorts of things. And it's like still kind of the same stuff you heard before. Like, well, if we're having a coming out party, we need defenses for when the pirates come calling. Or like, well, we still need to replace the manufacturing stuff. Like, no, we need to establish trade routes so we can get the things we can't grow. And as they're doing that, each of you is going to get approached by your mentor about some personal business they want you to take care of for them, which we are going to get to directly after our break.
Woo!
Yeah. Who loves breaks? I do, especially my bladder does.
That's great.
TMI, Andrew.
Yeah, no, I'm a human with regular human bodily functions, not a robot.
Why you fronting, Holly? Like you don't pee.
Robots sometimes have to point these things out so that we believe that they're human.
Yeah, that's totally what a robot would say. But before we disappear off to Breakland,
I enjoy urination. I also enjoy defecation. Sometimes I secrete fluids. It is a good thing humans do to relieve pressure in the abdominal cavities.
How human of you,
Yes.
George.
Yes, I am very good at being a human.
You have reconfirmed not suspicions. So talking about a couple cool things that are coming up are some cool things that come up every week here. Like Wednesday, Leviathan Distant Stars. If you like a show that's kind of like this but in space and with a really cool long backlog, you can catch up on the Twitch VODs or YouTube. Wednesdays here on GeekSpaceTV, Leviathan Distant Stars. Friday, Eat, Pray, Kill. How many billion demons are they killing? It's...
They've got like 5,999,995,995.
So they're all
it started with kill 6 billion demons?
Yeah.
Okay.
They've killed about a half dozen.
Okay. They'll get there. They're immortal. I believe in them.
That's quite a dance card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez. Talk about overcommitting.
Yeah. Well, I guess they'll learn.
You got to stay ambitious. You got to stay hungry.
Right. For
Insatiable.
almost 6 billion more demons. Anyway, Eat, Pray, Kill, really rad game, happens on Friday nights here at GeekSpaceTV. Another cool thing that happens here on GeekSpaceTV is sometimes wonderful people out in the ether drop some support on us, and I want to say thank you for some of that support. Such as William_TW. Thank you. First, before I read any of the cool stuff you said tonight, is that's a person who helps maintain the awesome wiki that you can get a link to from this Twitch page, where you can find things like episode recaps. He's been saving both the official art for the show and fan art, so you can come check that out really easily. He's been doing...
There's also hashtag Monica Facts on there. Not that that's like important to me or anything.
They're pretty great.
Ironically, that's a lie.
I never lie. What are you talking about?
So I want to say, William, thank you for the $10. And he says, hi, thanks for a great show last week. Oh, you're welcome. I love how that talk prevailed over possible violence. Sounds like there's a Getty fan in the audience. Also, awesome stories from Getty's envelopes and a quote-unquote talking iguana. Can't wait to see what's coming this week. Well, you're seeing it right now.
Welcome. The future is now.
And then it's the past.
Oh, shit.
Methalian, thank you for the $10. They report green grass and high tides to the Calamity Jane from elsewhere in Minnesota. Cool. Thank you for watching from all the way over there. There might be a Minnesota shout-out. Well, another Minnesota shout-out later in the second half. Spoilers, sorry. Left-handed Monkey Wrench has come out of left field with a delightful and delicious $25 donation.
Whoa!
Thank you. They say, this is such a great show. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you all are part of the channel. Aw.
Aww.
Thank you.
That's pure.
Yeah, we're really happy to be here.
It just makes my voice crack.
I'm happy to be anywhere.
Where are you happy to be?
And thanks for coming back, regular supporter Mike Kozar. Thank you for the $20 donation. Message is, why? Because Iguana support the channel.
Thank you.
So on that note, Mike, I love and appreciate you. We're going to take a little bit of a short break. We'll be back in about 10 minutes for more exciting Aloft, a post-atomic romance here on GeekSpaceTV. So, about time. Welcome back for part 2 of Aloft, a post-atomic romance here on GeekSpaceTV. We're back in that exciting first half. There was no fights. Well, there was some intimidation.
There was some emotional, there were strong words.
There was conflict.
Yes.
One might say a battle of wills.
Ooh.
Tension.
Yes. And where we left off, the crew of the Calamity Jane was summoned to a town council meeting in Hill City to talk about what their next steps are. And this point of the meeting is, oh, by the way, officially, according to my notes, we are through the prologue of the entire campaign.
I knew we could do it.
It's not the beginning at the end, but it is the end of the beginning.
Unless, of course, you're the Smashing Pumpkins, in which case I guess it's the end is the beginning is the end, or I'm not sure. Sometimes it's the other way around.
I haven't been the Smashing Pumpkins since 1999.
I continue to follow Billy Corgan with morbid curiosity because he just looks like the saddest man. Just can't enjoy Splash Mountain. That's how little joy is left in his life. Looking like somebody that has dropped his ice cream cone.
So the prologue arc was also unable to enjoy Splash Mountain because there was a war 25 years ago in this setting, and it was just really hard to get to Southern California.
John Wayne Airport isn't taking flights anymore.
Yeah, you keep trying to refresh Travelocity, and not only does it not load.
All I get is this blank black screen.
Yeah.
Have you tried unplugging it and plugging it back in? You gotta wait 30 seconds, though.
The next phase of the campaign is a little more player-directed because y'all have the reins, proverbial reins, the flight control surfaces of an airship, and a bit of a mandate from your hometown, but it's entirely up to you how you want to pursue that.
So we could go to Disneyland.
Yes. If you decide to fly on down to Anaheim and run into Disneyland or the non-copyrighted equivalent of a big amusement park in Anaheim.
Oh.
To Knott's Berry Farm is what he's saying.
There's a lot of jam there, Knott's
great.
Berry Farm.
And cookies. No one talks about the cookies.
Well, it's because they have cookies everywhere, but they don't have Knott's Jam. So, while this council meeting's happening, and plates of little mini omelets and shit are being passed around, there's a big map open on the table in the center of the big downstairs den area, and everyone's crowded around it, and side conversations are breaking out as the various members of the mayor's council are advocating for this or that. And while that's happening, Grandma Gaia pulls Fennec aside and says, you can see why I tend to skip these. They're
Yeah.
just so loud.
I understand.
She says, remember how I told you about where some of the work that I used to do in my youth? She reaches into her many layers of robe and shirt and dress and stuff and pulls out a lanyard with a little employee ID card on it. And it says, has her name on it, her old name that I am flipping to right now. But it's it's old and worn, and the plastic is yellowed around the edges, but it still has a magnetic strip on one side. And she says, yes, yeah, Cybele Moss. Sybil, sorry.
It's a pronunciation thing.
Right, I was going to make some joke about how, how can you tell that if it's just printed on the card? But
Sigh, Bill.
Because some of us are more civilized than others.
thank you. Mostly. Dad.
More like some of us are more civilized.
She says, so you and I have done. She sort of takes your hands in hers and says, you and I have done incredible work with the plants that are possible here in this way that the world is now, that it's changed. It's so much easier to hybridize, and there's so much to explore. But when I worked for this company, and there's a little logo under her picture on the ID card, that's like got a stylized bush, and it says like the silhouette in green of like some kind of, I don't know, smaller leafy thing, and in exciting letters it says crops by Calgary. And she says, I think that some of the work that I left behind when I worked for these people is going to be useful. Like, I doubt that any of the specimens have survived. It's been so long. In fact, even if they'd been planted or my work had been continued, things have changed, and they would not be the plants that I worked on before. But my notes, and the seed stock in the vaults at this place. If this town is going to grow, which is, I think it should, it's time for this town to grow, we're going to need more food. And when you find my files, when you find my notes, when you find the vault with my work in it, that will be what we need to make this not just a town, but a city, and not a city built on
Rock and roll.
on what?
Rock and roll, sorry.
Footloose.
We built this city on rock and roll.
It's a mashup.
Not a city built on like needs and desires and commerce, even though those things can be good, but built on the goodness that comes from the land.
I understand.
Here.
Yeah.
So, will you see to this?
Of course. Where is this Crops by Calgary?
She brings you in through this circle of people talking around the big map. Mm-hmm. And she first she points at the badge, and there's an address of the like the office or place that she worked, mm-hmm. and she points down outside of a city called St. Louis in mm-hmm. Missouri.
Okay.
Here.
Thank you. We can definitely make that happen. Why do you think your files will still be there?
This place was here. She pulls you back out of the circle because it's just too noisy there. Mm. And she reaches back into her robes and she pulls out a folded up piece of paper, mm-hmm. and on it is a hand-drawn map. Mm-hmm. And she says, this was this place, and she indicates various lines, and she says, this place was built within the earth, mm-hmm. Probably to protect it from people who wanted to steal what was being made there, or perhaps destroy it. It wasn't a very popular company for various reasons. But I think that the thickness of the walls and the depth at which it was stored And the value of the work that I was doing before I left means that if anything has survived here, this would be among it.
Okay.
So, then, sort of simultaneously, Rose and Theo, who probably aren't in the middle of the pitch discussion because that's not really either of their scene.
Plus, we're both a little hungover.
Sure.
Well,
Yeah.
Rose isn't, because she's still drinking.
Right. So you've got big, strong mugs of tea. Tea, yes.
Long Island style.
And she's asking you, oh, so I guess you didn't get over to the memorial, did you, to follow up on the Resource Council?
Not yet. I mean, after all of the damage that we took in the battle, we figured we'd just come straight home. But it's still on the docket.
Okay.
I think we can either head there directly next, or if we're heading somewhere else, we can stop off on the way over.
Okay. It's close to the top of your to-do, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huge load off my mind.
Actually,
Find out.
one thing I was thinking was going back to Rapid City and stopping there on the way for Rapid City. They've got a whole construction site that they haven't even tapped into yet. It's just because of a couple of spiders.
A couple of spiders?
A couple of spiders.
How big are these spiders?
Pretty big, actually.
Okay.
Like, we could see them from the airships. Kind of big.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you know if you've got some backup spider poison, then we could use that.
Or we
Fennec?
could try to make friends with them.
Or Fennec could just hug it out.
Yeah. If we've got any.
You mean
4
well,
hugs.
spiders. You mean well.
I bet they're fuzzy.
Why are you biting me?
I could just transform into a giant spider and be like, we friends.
Yeah. If we could get some
Would-
spider poison before we decide to befriend them as well.
Spider poison?
I don't know. I mean, I figured you would know something about, like, anti-venomous venom.
She, like, grabs your big mug of tea and sniffs it, and then sniffs hers, and then switches them.
She wants whatever you're drinking.
It's like, you know what? I'll stick to poisons. Sure. You stick to gadgetry. And so as far as I know, that's not a thing.
Okay.
Like giant spider poison.
Mm-hmm. I figured it would be the same as regular spider poison, but in bigger batches.
We're just talking about regular poison.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, we'll think about it.
Okay.
But you find out what happened to the Resource Council.
Will do. I'm on it.
Or maybe we could get like a giant bird to eat the giant spiders. I think we need to be thinking about natural pest control.
I don't know why, but it makes sense.
Okay.
Do we just like strap
Level
our
8, I could be a giant bird.
Well, now we know what we want to do at level 8. She's going to turn into a rock, and well, that's with a C, and then just eat the giant spiders.
Yes.
Or at high enough level to turn into a bigger rock and just eat the airships? So Holly.
Oh, that's me.
Yes, it is. There's a discussion happening about like, well, where can we go to get this? Where can we go to get that? And the sheriff speaks up. Yolanda,
Ma'am.
come here. She steps behind the couch, and looks up at you and says, I shouldn't be asking for personal favors, but you know how I told you stories about my son, Ansel? It just lines up so nicely with the fact that, from what we've heard from these people who've come to visit now, that there's actually good trading to be done in Seattle. And that's where my boy Ansel went to go to school
Oh.
right before the war. So, do you think you could do this for me?
If we're in Seattle, I'll look for him.
Okay. Now, I know he was going to the university.
Mm-hmm.
And I know he was going to be studying pre-med.
All right.
So, whatever you can find out.
Do you have a picture of him that you can spare?
From in her inside jacket pocket, has one. And she lays it in your hand and takes a few extra seconds before she lets go of it. I mean, he'll be all grown. I mean, growner. Probably bald by now, just like his father.
I'll just put my
Oh, no,
finger
wait.
over the top right here.
It goes on the mom's side. Then he'll probably be... Did my... And she's like distracting herself on purpose a little bit. Like, you'll know him.
I will.
She like looks as if she's looking for a few more things to say. And then she pats you on the arm and goes and rejoins the central discussion. And so Getty,
I'm hanging out with the two nurses I keep in town, Orenga and Kinsey.
they're not at the council meeting. They don't get invited to that.
Okay.
But the deputy mayor, Colin Flanagan, is, and like in a lull, like you catch each other at the refreshment table, and he says, "So Getty,
Patrick?
I'm worried about something. I'm worried about these new people. I mean, I started that wrong. I'm glad you're rehabilitating pirates and inviting other sorts of folk to come here. And I think it's time for this place to grow. But this town's spiritual needs aren't addressed.
Are we going to talk about a priest again, Patty?
Yeah. I mean, look, it's obvious. Like, especially if you keep bringing in, like, ruffians like them, they need a little higher power to keep them on the straight and narrow.
What do you want?
Grandma Gaia has shrooms for them if they want some higher power.
Well, look, here's the thing. If Captain Perry and now Captain Sawyer and stuff have confirmed that the some of the bigger religious institutions still exist, including the Catholic Church. And they do stuff like send relief missions. And they help rebuild communication networks.
Historically, that comes with a price.
Well,
Now, I
that's a good
understand.
point.
Now, I understand there are plenty of good Catholic folk in this town, but that doesn't mean that those don't usually come with strings attached.
What I'm thinking is, I mean, this town's been self-sufficient for a few decades. If people have a certain way they want to pray, they've been getting someone else who prays the same way they do and having a service in their living room or something like that. But as this place gets bigger, we're going to need someone smart. We're going to need someone with experience working in a city or working in a larger town who keeps the peace between different faiths.
What are you thinking?
Well, I mean, my ma would suggest someone Franciscan, but just take what you can get. But be judicious. I know you don't go in for all of the God bothering, which is why you're probably the person to pick it.
I studied with a few Jesuits in Utah. St. Rosa Lima's been doing just fine, though, with laity. By the way, that's the name of the town.
Oh.
The church, the Catholic church in town would be St. Rose of Lima in Hill City.
Right. But if it's going to be... Will you use your...
Find a priest.
Find a priest.
Find
but
a real priest.
But use your judgment. Like, don't get us a shitty one.
Get us one of those newfangled lady ones.
What are you going to say? What am I going to say? What are you going to say to me if I come back with an Episcopalian priest? Let me ask you a question. Do I need to go find a proper Catholic bishop to have someone sent here, or do I need to find someone who will come here?
What if we find an actual god?
What if it's just a guy named Jesus?
You've got like 3 of them in town already.
Okay.
I
I mean, his original name was Yeshua,
Yeah.
but
and a couple of Joshes too. It's just
yeah.
they're thick on the ground here. So he says, "Look, I don't know. You've obviously put a little bit more thought into it since the last time we talked about it.
I didn't think much of it, but that's back before we had an airship and it was a pipe dream.
Right. Someone, I don't know, whatever it takes to get someone good and ecumenical here."
I'm not going to lie to you, that probably means going to bring you a Jesuit.
Okay. You know, it's been 25 years since I've actually talked to someone in a frock. So I've sort of lost my sense for these things.
Let's just say a Jesuit and me would get along.
Okay.
I'll get you some. Listen, Patrick. I'll get you somebody. I'll get you somebody good. I'll get you somebody decent. I think that's the most important thing.
And we don't need it right away. And like, he's one of we'll say the sheriff sort of scooches by and catches the edge of the conversation and says like, "Are you on about that priest thing again?" And he glares daggers at her until she moves on.
Did we determine if it was... We had talked, by the way, out of character, possibly a member of Patrick's... Who would it be? Family that might need this service.
Oh, right. Thank you. I was wondering why that.
Because that was the
skinny.
secret impetus behind this.
It's like, well, that's actually something we're going to come back to later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mind if I just roll with something right now?
Sure.
Okay. Patrick, your father is fine. I give him at least another 10 years.
And that's what they said about his father.
You didn't have a doctor in town at the time.
All right. At which point he turns around and says, "No, that was before the war."
You didn't have a good doctor.
Fair enough.
Look, I'm working on getting some better medical equipment too. I'll have him brought in. We'll do I'm trying to get a new scanning machine going from the old RVs. We can get a good look at his lungs and see that the lung damage isn't permanent.
Oh. Okay.
And I'll look
We'll
for
look.
a priest. And I'll look for a priest for you.
Thank you, Getty.
Of course. I mean, I can't say no to you. I can't. So
So he
you're the one who pays for my staff. It's not possible for me to say no.
he laughs at that. Whoops. Click, click, click. There we go. So at a certain point, the mayor stands up and says, "Look, it needs to be up to them." And he indicates variously the 4 of you standing in different parts of the room.
Is something up to us, Theo? What's up to us, Theo?
It's a good question. I was talking with Rose. What's up to us?
He says, "Where to go, what to do. You
Okay.
we can tell you what the town needs, but we can't be there flying the ship with you. We can't be giving you orders, really, while you're in the sky.
Why don't you go ahead and tell us what the town needs?
And he...
That's going well.
He and several other people speak up at the same time.
Hey.
And so he points and acknowledges their contributions individually, like he points at the sheriff and he says, obviously we need defenses. And he points at Grandma Guy and he says, and we need a stronger food supply. And he points at the deputy mayor and he says, and we need more local power generation. And then the deputy
who was
mayor,
that to?
Huh?
Who was that to? The sheriff? The mayor?
The mayor. The mayor points at the deputy mayor and says, and we need more power generation. And then the deputy mayor speaks up, like calls in, like, and manufacturing.
Oh, both of those.
And then is shushed by the sheriff. And he points at and then he points at Getty and he says, and we need medical supplies. We need all the thing, a growing, healthy young town does need. But what I think we need is friends.
Well, we're horrible at that.
We did pretty well. We brought back robot friends
There
and trader
was-
friends.
There
and-
was being so. Never mind. I'll
You
just
gotta-
be serious.
You gotta be less hard on yourself.
So, and he says, and you know what? They don't need to decide now. It's going to take at least another week to finish patching up the ship and the Bluebell.
Well, would you mind if I gathered my senior command crew together and talk about how we feel about what we want to do and how we want to do it?
That's a great idea. And like he very rarely flexes his mayoral sort of power here, but he's just sort of fed up with their discussion. He's like, you're right. Let's give him the room. And he ushers everyone else.
Well, I mean,
including-
we could. Okay, yeah, sure.
Yep, he does. And like the much larger den with the big table pulled into the middle, like is emptied except for you four. And then like the other 8 to 10 people at this meeting have crowded into the kitchen.
And the map's still on the table.
The map's still on the table, yeah.
Well, okay.
That
Come
was-
on, guys. Yeah.
That wasn't bad. Cleared the room there, Captain.
But thanks. Well, I figured. I mean, if we're gonna talk, we should talk, right?
Should we stock up on some sort of trade goods so that we could trade? Because right now, whenever we go out, we're just sort of depending on our winning personalities. But if maybe do we have something that other people might want?
We have plenty of. We have weed. We have drinks. We have. That's very big luxuries. For a lot of smaller communities that haven't really set themselves up right, that's a low priority for them because they've got to worry about sustenance 1st.
Do we have peyote? We could do a dream experience. We could take them through the spirit
Not in
land.
bulk. There is so there are various pages of notes arranged around on the map, and there is one that says is marked possible trade surpluses, and the entries on it are timber, woodcrafts, furs, and then in a second hand, like a different person's handwriting is written, whatever crap Getty brought back from his old caravan.
We can be drug dealers to the sky.
You joke.
We get you sky high.
You joke, but it's making alcohol out of it. Even distilled alcohol itself could just be very valuable as a trade good.
If you're smart enough to know how a still works, there's someone in most communities who knows how to work a still.
That's true, but
And weed grows everywhere.
this is true. But if a community is only able to do subsistence farming because they don't have enough people to really kind of reach past that tipping point where they can establish a surplus, or
Yeah,
they're
but
just
we don't want
barely
to
there.
trade with those people. We want people with other surpluses, and then we trade our surpluses. I think maybe the furs are a good beginning because they're lighter weight than timber.
However, woodcraft and decent wood carving or demonstrations of decent wood carving would be great. It's like, we have the furs, but in the future, we could bring you these things.
I think we would be more intimidating with like a dinosaur on the front of the airship.
A dinosaur.
Well, we
Yeah.
want to scare people, right? We have dinosaurs here.
That's true, you do,
Yeah.
in the museum.
Yeah.
That's actually a really interesting idea. You could like strap a dinosaur to the
Oh, that's
maidenhead.
that's a great idea. After that, how about we go ahead and all wear dinosaur-themed costumes?
Yes!
And then we'll have little dinosaur patches. We have people here who actually have you noticed that this is identical to the shark theme?
We actually have new crew members that would be great at making these patches.
This is the opposite of my point.
Is-
I was gonna
What?
say, don't get us started. You know she's gonna be into this.
Okay.
Alrighty, so what are the options on the map for...
Captain Sawyer from the Bluebell is like squeezed out of the kitchen. Been like, and he walks up and says, "Well, that's kind of weird. It doesn't look like your mayor does that sort of thing very often.
Not really.
I think what you folks want to do is you want to find a hub, somewhere you can work out of, somewhere where there's a lot of goods coming in and out. Now, I'm awful partial to my home, the home port for my Bluebell, San Antonio.
San Antonio?
Yeah, but it's a bit of a haul.
Yeah.
You
We'll
know,
get
for-
there. I'm sure we'll get there.
Yeah, but maybe for one of your first trips.
Maybe somewhere a little closer.
Yeah, he's pointing. He's like, well, let's see. Y'all are pretty centrally located up on the north end here. You might want to try Seattle. And he points over at the west coast. He says he skips over Portland and is like, well, if you want to venture as far as California, this Bay Area is not bad.
Is that near Silicon Valley?
It's a big area, but yeah, that's close to Silicon Valley.
Ooh. Any word of Utah?
Yeah, Utah's doing fine.
It's been a long while. I'm here in my dress outfit I wear for the council meetings. It's a white lab coat with University of Utah Medical Center on there. I learned from Utah doctors. So I was like, I've actually been meaning to go to Utah. Where's the biggest hub there?
Biggest hub there? Well, if you're not on official business, you're probably going to touch down at Provo.
What would the official business?
If you,
Work for Desiree.
yeah, if you were a member of the Deseret Air Navy, or one of
Okay.
their preferential Utah-based shipping companies.
They're religious, but they're generally on the level.
Okay. What was the name of the touchdown site for that?
Provo.
Provo.
Well, straight east of here is mostly industrial barren territory. You're going to want to steer around that.
Just how well stocked and armed are these industrial barons?
Better than anyone else on the continent. And they don't even have to do their own fighting. They pay pirates to do it for them, and they
Yep.
just sell them the guns.
Mm-hmm.
And he's looking over the map. He's like, Colorado, whew, that place is a bit of a mess right now. Some people came from space station.
What?
Yeah, kicked up a hornet's nest with some local despots.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait. So that area is weak right now?
weak? No, I wouldn't say weak. I'd say,
Like, if a friendly trading ally were to come in, we could like control a situation a little better than they might be doing already.
I don't know if you're there yet, son.
It's good to have dreams.
It is, but you're welcome to go down and poke around and find out.
I'm not exactly in a hurry to get back to Colorado.
Or Vegas.
Vegas.
Yeah.
I've heard of Vegas.
Vegas still. How?
It's a bit of a hub right now for trading.
But I mean, water-wise, that
The casino arcologies recycle their own.
Arcologies.
really?
Yeah.
You put that in the list.
There's one that's styled, looks like old New York gangsters. There's one that's got a sort of, reminds me of the those robots from Rapid City. They've got a Knights in Armor castle theme. The third,
Wait, do they actually have robots in armor there?
they've got all kinds of folks in armor there. Some of them might be robots. Pretty hard to tell under the whole, and he like just mimes and outlines a full suit of armor.
What's the rest of the South looking like? Well, in the Southwest, too. Anything of the use of Albuquerque?
It's fine.
Not big, huh?
Not terribly big.
Anything else big in the Southwest?
Last I heard, Mexico was taking a real keen interest in taking some bites out of California and Arizona.
It was ours to begin with,
Yeah, well,
I guess.
they've been probing the Rio Grande, mostly the Lone Stars, like San Antonio, that I came from. Don't feel like giving the land back. But Arizona and New Mexico haven't exactly put themselves back together in big enough polities yet.
Southern California?
Southern California was a mess when I was there about 5 years ago.
Well, I know San Diego got glassed pretty hard.
Yeah. In no shape to resist.
So, I don't know about y'all, but Rose came and talked to me and wanted me to check out the memorial center over at Six Grandfathers. And so, I mean, to me that's nice and convenient, but does any of these locations stick out to you all as places that you want to go and check out for reasons that I don't know about?
I would like to check out Seattle. The sheriff's son was seen there last. Also, I hear it rains there all the time.
All the time.
Constantly. Never visit.
No.
Never.
Never go to Seattle. It's horrible.
It's terrible.
But Seattle might not be a bad idea. I know this is going to sound kind of silly, but if you find a Jesuit priest, please let me know. And I understand Seattle might be one of the best places to do so.
I want to go to St. Louis, Missouri.
What's happening there?
Oh, at this point, he has let himself back into the kitchen,
Oh.
like snuck back in through the crowd that is still comically not packed in, but like it's a little crowded.
I'm going to shout out the door. What's happening in St. Louis?
And like the hubbub quiets down. Someone's like, "Oh, I think Captain Sawyer, that's for you." And he shouts back, "It's boring."
Perfect. Thank you. I shout that back.
Well, if you want to find a Jesuit, shouldn't you find a Catholic university? Don't they like...
When I initially, my family, or what was left of my family, what was that motion? I didn't
That
understand.
was feeding off of the university?
Well, I was going to say is that when I...
Are priests not vampires? Did I...
No, priests aren't vampires.
Okay,
We
sorry.
That was the robes. The robes
Well,
were confusing.
I mean, they're both obsessed with religious symbolism.
Well, I mean, if you get me drunk
Don't
enough...
they drink blood?
No.
Out of that fancy cup.
Jesus' blood.
Yeah.
Dude, a fifth of the town goes to St. Rose of Lima's to go to service every Sunday.
Yeah,
What do you
but
think
they
they're
can
doing?
only drink wine because they don't have a priest to turn it into blood.
It's not actually a... Okay, there's no blood. That's a gross misconception that you've been completely...
Transubstantiation.
I'm familiar with Catholic theology, yes, but that's...
Hold on, I want to know how Lando got this conception.
Is Jesus a cannibal?
That's...
I have a lot of worries.
All right, everyone. While we...
I heard the body of Christ. I got worried.
All right, everyone, let's time out for a moment. Let me back away from all the
Okay.
religion jokes
Sorry.
because it might not be everyone's tastes.
Sorry. But yes, a Catholic university to find Jesuits. And so...
That sounds like a Utah thing, right?
No, Seattle. When my family fled, or what was left of my family fled
Yeah.
from Olympia when I was a child, we were actually joined by a band of students and professors from Seattle University. It's really all I know of the place, but apparently it was a Jesuit school.
Oh. All right. That sounds likely then.
That's really all I've
Okay.
got.
So we've got. Seems like a bunch of us want to go over to Seattle. Right?
I think that's
Yes.
it.
Yeah. Okay.
But we can stop off at the grandfather's.
Yeah. And do we want to go clear that construction site as well?
I don't see why we shouldn't take care of our local errands first.
Yeah. I mean, if we can get the construction site, then we might be able to take care of our energy problem and manufacturing issues for the deputy mayor.
Besides, we only just got the airship back and running. I mean, it's not even really finished with its repair work yet. We want to do another shakedown before we go on a very long journey, right?
Right?
So, grandfather's Rapid City, back.
Back and then over. Then we pick up. We can have everyone getting ready to stock up for trade, and then we can go hit up Seattle.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think they might have timber in Seattle.
Yeah, they will have a lot of lumber there.
I thought that was more of a Portland thing, personally, but
Captain Sawyer has budged back out of the kitchen. It's like, so how's it going out here? Because I feel like people in there have had as much as they can stand. It is just the mayor's will keeping them in that kitchen.
I know that he looks like a cream puff, but his will could keep them in that kitchen for a few more hours. But by all means, bring them out. I'm sure you'll almost be sweating by now.
Okay. It sounds like they've made a decision about where they're going first. And everyone streams back out, and they're all like hot, like uncomfortably hot in the way you are when you're in close quarters with a dozen people. They're like,
oh, let's go take this outside, just so we've got a little more space to like breathe.
and everyone stops. Oh, okay, all right, and they all file out the front door.
Good call.
Into the big yard with like a bunch of planter boxes and some grass and stuff like that.
It's a nice summer night.
Yeah. But
Well,
no,
it's
this is a
morning.
nice summer morning.
Nice summer morning. Okay. Sun's out. It's looking nice.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go make friends with spiders first? Is that what we're doing?
Well, first we're going to look for the missing tribe.
The missing tribe over at the Memorial Center. See if we can make some more local contacts and local friends.
And then we'll hug the spiders.
Yeah,
We'll hug
Spider
them
huggers.
really tight.
with arrows from a distance.
Oh, with their own spider legs.
Mm-hmm. I have an ensnaring hug that I can give them. Taste of their own medicine, damn it.
Rose asks, I'm sorry, what? Why are we talking about hugging spiders?
Meanwhile, you guys should figure out what do you think Seattle might not have that we could trade there. And if you could start preparing some loads up.
Sunshine? Can we package sunshine?
That's the point. We do run off of solar power. This could get problematic.
Not really. Seattle was supposedly, according to an atlas I read at one point, Seattle actually had a temperate climate. Although it was known for a heavy rainfall, it was plenty sunny in the summertime.
Well, I guess we'll need to make sure we go in summer then.
It's 88 degrees here right now in Seattle. It is summer.
We're having a heat wave.
Yeah.
It's very bad.
I imagine after a nuclear war, we're going to be fine.
Most of our homes don't have air conditioning.
We are dying. Please send help.
Or trade goods.
Or
Okay.
trade
Or trade goods.
Yes.
Or trade
So
goods.
the mayor and
Yeah.
the deputy mayor, the mayor is like, I approve of this, and the deputy mayor already has his notebook out and is actually writing this stuff down. Like, okay. So you say you're going to slip back out for another short errand.
A sojourn, if you may.
Put the ship back to its paces
I
after
may.
repairs.
Yeah. And then next up is Seattle. Okay, well, turning over to Captain Sawyer, like, would you? He's like, oh, your hospitality has been so great. I will be happy to go through everything you have in town and figure out what they might want over in Seattle.
Okay.
So,
Great.
right on. It's another 6 days before your ground crew is going to have repairs completed on the Calamity Jane. The Bluebell is going to take at least another 3 or 4 days. And Captain Perry is leading the negotiations for how much they should be paying or how they should be paying the town for like resources and labor and stuff to help rebuild the ship. And it's great because Captain Perry and Captain Sawyer used to know each other. So they're having this moment where they're teaching the local
Negotiations
leadership
101.
how this works
Yeah.
when you're haggling with sky captains. So,
It's a teachable moment.
Also,
Could we have at least one or two of the crew sitting in on this as well?
On the haggling? What are we
Like,
sitting in on?
Our more charismatic people could be.
oh, we do have 2 charisma main people. Okay, yeah.
Y'all both.
Oh.
No,
do
we're
it?
just gonna sit there and stare at them.
Yeah.
You've got to do it. I've got stuff to do in town.
Yeah.
Um,
All I know up till now was The Art of the Deal by Donald Trump, so it'll be good to watch this.
It's state of the art in the 80s, I heard. So, also, some people came back from Keystone with another,
Ambassador?
well, sort of. There's,
Ambassador?
what's that?
Catbassador? Or is it just a fish and it's just a bassador?
Ambassador?
There's a one of those what are they called? One of those train cars, like, but the ones with the handles on them. Zoop, 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 zoop. I totally used to know what that
Mining
was.
something or other.
Yeah.
I'm blanking too. And
But it's got a harness rigged up to it, and there is a pair of majestic elk pulling it.
Oh. I'm glad. I thought that they were.
With their little hooves on the handles.
Okay, but no, they're pulling it. Okay.
I was hoping for 2 bears.
That would be too much to bear.
Unbearable.
The yes, the yeah, and it's stacked high with just more of the sacks and boxes that you of the type that you collected from the warehouse near the tracks on your previous visit to Keystone. And that just rolls into the station one day. Tybalt goes out to greet them. Your little ship's cat, your psychic ship's cat.
Who we've been forgetting about this whole session, by the way. Poor Tibble.
He's been doing. He's been
yeah.
like in the background, just sort of being there.
Watching, judging.
Yes. Only watching when judging. Otherwise, carefully not paying attention and hearing and seeing everything anyway.
And reading our minds.
Yeah, probably that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and goes and gets some. Goes to get some help. And a few townspeople, and anyone can be near this scene and seeing it, if and you want. A few townspeople come and like remark like, "Oh, look at this stuff," and start unloading it. And then Clyde rolls over. Clyde, the one-armed, one-eyed, scarred survivor of the Keystone attack, who Lando had to talk down on return from Keystone, comes up and just starts yelling at the elk.
Ooh, okay.
Just
I'm
shouting
gonna
at
step in Gonna grab him. Gonna say, Clyde, let's take a step back.
Well, do you want to use your persuasion-y sort of charisma?
I would like to
Or
use
your
my
intimidating-y?
persuasion-y sort of charisma.
Okay.
15.
15. Yeah, you pull the aggro away from the elk. And he focuses it a bit more respectfully or a bit more civilly towards you. And he says, Coleman, those... And like as he was doing this in his guardsman's uniform.
Oh.
Can I keep an eye on the crowd and see if like what ratio are sharing his sentiments as opposed to being deeply, deeply embarrassed by the fact?
You can roll either insight or perception for that.
It makes no difference.
And let me get back to you in a second about that. And he says, like, they obviously think they have the right just to waltz in here because you let them keep that thing, and he points at Tibble, on your ship and gave him run of the town. But, like, if they think they can just bring whatever they want in here, then they're going to bring whatever they want in here.
Yes, but they have food and they have knowledge. And so the other day, I was fighting some pirates. I
I
was
heard about
chopping
that.
them up with my axe. And the next morning, what did I find? But Getty had patched a few of them up and offered them places on the ship. You know, there's no way of getting through it if we hold grudges. Now, I don't know about you, Clyde, but I know a lot of people did things that they weren't proud of to survive. And that's what these animals were trying to do, survive. So we gotta find in our hearts to forgive each other if we can agree to move forward. Would you like me to roll a persuade?
You already rolled a persuade.
Is there like advantage to awesome monologue?
Monologue.
Also, are you doing this in a loud enough voice that the entire crowd and everyone around can hear and possibly be inspired by it?
And get +4 hit points? No, I'm gonna just Clyde here.
Okay. Well, you can choose whether to roll or not if you want to sort of keep things even tone-wise or have a chance to...
I'm gonna give you guidance because I'm there helping with things.
Oh, thank you.
Do you want him to lose this one, or do you want him to... You don't have to roll persuasion, is what I'm trying to say.
You know what? I think I'm going to push it because
Okay.
I think that we're creating some social changes in our isolated town.
Ooh.
Yes, and as we're opening ourselves up to the world, I think we are going to have to start shifting some persuasion, some perspectives of people that have been, you know, living in an isolated community for a while.
All right.
I'm on the scene of Nurserenga. I haven't said anything yet, but
Inspiration.
take your D6.
So, tell me, Bard,
How do you
how
inspire?
do you bardically inspire? Because I was talking about you the other day, and I was like, well, he's a bard, but he doesn't sing and he doesn't play any instruments. And you know what my conversation partner said? So how does he do bardic inspiration? And I said, I don't know.
Two things. It says right here in this character sheet that I'm good with the violin. That's one. Two, I'm just that fucking awesome. So me just standing there, it's like if it's a bardic inspiration moment for this, for example, that's when you, like, if you were to turn the crowd at all, you'd realize it's a part in the crowd and you can just see me just standing there. If Nurserenga behind me just give me a silent nod because I've been hearing what you're saying. That's it. That's all it has to be. Yeah.
He has an inspiring face.
Presence.
I was going to presence.
Presence.
Yeah, it's good.
No, it's your face. It's your eyes. It's the look in his eyes.
All right, so give me that roll.
Get it?
That roll.
Alrighty,
Oh
so
my God, we helped.
Yeah, you did. So 8, 9, 10, 14.
You have any inspiration to use in that?
I do not.
Oh, no. Yeah, you do. Sorry, I forgot to call it out before, but you totally did.
Totally have inspiration. So I'm sorry, does that add together, or is it just the higher?
One! Oh, that was a 1!
Okay, well,
Let's not talk about that.
all right.
Alrighty, so anyway, so,
sorry,
so
you
here
live
we are,
with your
14,
shame.
14.
You live with your shame.
And I'm going to make a roll real quick right here, because
If this blows up in our faces, that's awesome, too.
yeah,
Hate is strong. We're going to have a civil war.
this, never mind. I was going for a pun there, and it was almost there. So Clyde looks around and notices that that Fennec had touched Yolanda and given that extra swell of strength. And he notices the same part in the crowd and sees Getty. And he...
I also got a 14 to perceive the crowd, just
Oh.
in case this...
Sure.
Riot! Riot! Oh,
They
sorry.
were waiting to see how this played out. Most of them. And then like his gaze sweeps back to you, back to Yolanda as she finishes her speech, or makes her point.
My pep talk.
Yeah. And then his gaze sort of falls and lands on Tybalt, who is standing next to Yolanda's feet, looking very proud, and gazes up at Clyde with a shit-eating grin.
Oh, now's not the time,
Oh.
Tybalt. Okay.
And Clyde's face gets stormy. And he again looks at you three, who did it and who helped. And he says, we'll see about that. And he storms off.
I'm gonna go after him.
Okay.
I'm gonna get very loud. And I scream, I don't want to do it too loud because I have this mic right in my face, but I shout at the top of my lungs, "What are you gonna say to me, Clyde? What are you gonna say to me? Well, you lost something? Something missing?"
Ooh, oh shit. Oh, that's rough.
His eye.
His arm.
And that's when I, with my left leg, kick my right leg out and sling down my doctor bag and land a stump on it.
Huh.
And that's a 14. I'm going to make this an intimidate roll.
It would not be a good persuasion, I don't think.
Yeah,
it would be a strong
that's
intimidation.
a 20.
A 20 intimidation?
Yeah, I'm going to do this to myself, by the way. 22, just for fun.
Are you allowed to inspire yourself?
I guess I can, am I? I don't know. I actually don't know with 5th edition.
I can
it was in
guidance
older
myself.
editions.
I think
That-
you, at a higher level, you can.
Oh, okay.
By
Well,
the way, a
then
20
He
is
just
pretty
takes out a
strong.
20 is
hand.
pretty strong.
Mir gives himself the wink.
A little compact.
Looking good, boy.
He hears your voice and he spares one glance over his shoulder, and his face is gone from anger to shame, and he walks faster as you're calling after him.
And then I point at him and I say, "Don't you walk away from me, you gutless coward!"
And at that point, he is running. Like, he's picked up the pace, and then when you say that, like, you've broken his composure, and he runs, like, shamefully away from you.
And then my finger swings to the crowd. "Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know they kill people that were close to you. They kill people that were close to me, too. Yes, I know we've got this little cat here, somehow affecting a shit-eating grin on his little feline face. What are you going to do? You going to kill them all? You're going to take this community, you're going to plunge it into war for what? What's that going to do for you? What's that going to do for your children? Nothing. Just blind, dumb, stupid revenge. So if you all want to slit your throats, that's fine. I got plenty of scalpels in the med bay. Go line up.
So at this point, the whole crowd is looking at you like, damn. Also, the two elk looking at you like, wide-eyed, like, whoa, that looks intense.
And then I last, with my finger, I swing down to Tybalt and I say, and you stop making it fucking harder.
Whew. Tybalt slinks out of the scene.
Can my character just be looking through the packages like it's Christmas right now?
Oh, yeah. Oh, totally.
Meanwhile, the elk are like studying this whole interaction. They say, this is interesting. When humans show a threat display, they make themselves smaller.
It's a lot like dogs. It's the tail between the legs thing.
Well, no, but he was doing his threat display by taking off his fake leg and putting it down. He's making himself smaller to threaten the other human. Oh.
I reach an arm out to Nurse Orenga, who steadies me for a moment, and I grab my leg off the ground and start fastening it back on.
Nurse helps you. Says, damn, doctor, that was something.
They had it coming.
All right. You say so. Yeah, you're going through the packages like it's Christmas. Mm-hmm. This is, it's sort of more of the same stuff. Like, there's actually nothing very exciting in this. It's just some more basic spare parts. Coal. There's a bunch of coal on here, which is useful.
Mm-hmm.
It is like Christmas, at my house at least.
Oh, the memories.
Has everybody been naughty this year?
Yeah, and some books on from the gift shop at the Railway Museum at the other end of the line. Stuff like a history of the Black Hills Rail Line.
Awesome.
And like a book that like you would get at any antique railway gift shop. Is just like a book full of how to identify different engine models and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Train nerd stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of
Locomotives.
there's some coal and some useful parts, and then a bunch of really cool train nerd stuff. That's what's in the shipment.
For the anoraks.
For the what?
Oh, anoraks. It's a term in Britain for train spotters.
Ah.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's what's up with that.
Who cares about these particular items?
The coal would probably want to go to Griller, the town blacksmith.
Okay. Is he present?
No, not currently.
Okay. Is there anyone that I could send to get him so that we could get it to him, or does he have like
easily.
an apprentice? Or?
Oh, yeah. Someone who you know is like, oh, cool, I bet Griller wants that. Should I go get Griller?
Yeah.
All right, Fennec, I'm going to go get Griller. And then he takes off down the street.
Yeah, I'm gonna basically distribute these things to all the people who would want them. And like, while all of the other things are going on, I'm just like, you know what's important right now? Making sure people get these things. Mm-hmm. Why are people yelling? That's so silly. These are our friends.
Make a perception check.
Okay. I mean, I tried an 8.
So it's after you finished dispersing these gifts here, you know, Midsummer Shitty Christmas.
Cool for everyone. Yeah, I've been so naughty this year.
The person who came back who brought Griller back. Griller, like a former biker, he's like a mountain of a man.
Awesome.
Big leather apron, like converted his bike repair shop into a forge.
It's pretty metal.
Yeah, it's super metal. Him and his assistant Chains
Yes.
just keep the town in like hand manufactured metal goods. When you can get the forge hot enough
I bet
to
we
do the
fixed the
steel
radio.
thing, which is why the coal's super important. Like he can come over, he's like, sweet, and just like throws the sack over his shoulder and walks back towards where his forge is. The person who'd come to get Griller taps you on the shoulder and is like, "Hey, Fennec, I think they're trying to talk to you." And you look over, and the elk are just like looking at you over their shoulders and making little elk noises.
Okay.
I don't
Thank
know why
you
they'd be
for-
trying to talk to you. Do you?
I can talk to animals, but they could talk to me. I think they have like telepathy. So I don't know.
Oh, is that what the dealy bobbers
yeah,
are about?
they have the pom poms.
They have shitletfully. Wait, no. I'm trying to make a shit and telepathy like
Telepathy?
Shitletfully. And I think it only works amongst them.
Oh.
Shitlepathy.
Unless they get all up in your space.
Or they put a little paw on you.
Coprolephathy. There we go.
Oh,
Yeah.
There we go.
What?
Coprolephathy. There we
Ah.
go.
So
I'll do speak with animals
while you're setting up for
understand.
this,
Yeah.
I'm going to come over and be like, I've been trying out this new software. Hey, Peregrine. And I launch Peregrine up. And I just want to see if I can get this to work. And I also cast Speak with Animals.
Dun dun dun!
Folks, this is called niche trampling.
I'm just going to listen in. You're going to do all the talking, but I'm just going to listen in.
You were just like, what? They want to talk to Fennec? Do you know what I should do? I should be a nosy little Nancy.
So Peregrine.
I did not take the vow of the ancients for this reason, because I was like, there's enough green man shit already happening up in our party. I went with vengeance.
Yeah. I forgot to talk to you about spell choices for level 2. I will
Yeah?
follow up with you about this
Okay.
after the show.
Okay.
But for now,
Yeah.
this thing you said happens. Totally
Totally
happens.
happens.
But doesn't work.
The
The software could be buggy.
Well, we'll talk about it
Ooh.
later. We might retcon in some buggy
Okay.
software.
Okay.
I just felt like mentioning it in case we made a different decision later and people went back and watched and were like, how come that changed? So,
Because we cheat. It's time you know.
Yeah.
We just run with the story. We don't care about your rules.
We're a bunch of con men, hack frauds.
We don't even have dice down here. We're just pretending. We're just making the motion, then we just yell out random
it's
numbers.
Just
Pebbles.
Pokemon counters.
It's pebbles for the noise.
Everything's made up. It's okay.
So you use Speak with Animals, and the elk are like, hey, can you hear us now?
Yeah.
Can you hear us now?
Shit, it's the Verizon elk.
Can we talk yet? I know you're the one who can talk to us.
Thank you for being patient.
Oh, sure. Yeah, this is a long ass walk.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
sure is.
I got taught a word. That word is miles.
Yeah.
There were like, and the elk tosses its head, and it's got like several points on its antlers. Like, I don't know, probably that many.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot to
Yeah.
hoof it.
Yeah, so we just did a lot of work. Normally, when we do a lot of work back home, the leader rewards us with, like, a place to rest and appropriate food.
Uh-huh.
Water.
We'd love to
Water
get
would
you
be
some
fantastic.
Food and water. Yeah. What do you like to eat?
Like soft green stuff.
Okay. I'm
know?
sure Grandma Gaia and my pa can help you with that. And then there's a lot of other people with great gardens and stuff around here too.
Oh, great. Well, unhitch us from this thing.
Okay.
That's another word we learned. Unhitch.
I gotcha.
It's like hitch, but backwards and way better.
Yeah.
These elk are all right.
Yeah.
This
Unattached.
is just the elk on
You
the
got
left
some
doing all
soft
the
green
talking,
stuff
by the
for
way.
him to
Oh,
eat.
okay.
Uh,
And I'm gonna ask the one on the right if that one has any particular needs.
Oh, did you unhitch them both, or?
I'm unhitching both of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the one on the left is hanging out and chatting with you. The one on the right, makes a beeline across the street to a house with like a nice garden out front, and it just starts going to town
I understand.
on someone else's vegetables.
It's been a long walk.
Hang on. Okay. Instead of someone getting inordinately mad, it's just like this old lady who lives there comes out with a broom and just shoos the elk away.
My cabbages.
It's too far away that I can go over there and be like, they're a guest, I'm so sorry. Probably. It's too far away.
No, it's across the street.
Okay. Okay. They've walked a lot of miles. Do you have any water or anything that you can?
This cranky old lady says no and goes inside
Okay.
and slams her screen door.
Do we have like a pump or anything around here that
Oh,
has
totally.
water?
Yeah. you
Okay.
can- yeah.
I'm gonna get some water for them.
There are some horses in town.
Okay.
They're like one of the ranchers has a small herd that he is very carefully trying to keep the local horse resource thing going.
Okay.
So there's like watering troughs up and down Main Street.
Excellent. I'll take
They're
them
like,
to
"Hey."
those then.
The one on the right still not talking very much. One on the left is like, oh hey, is that water good? Can we drink that water?
Yeah?
Or is like an old lady going to come out with a broom? Also a word I learned. Be real mad at us.
I don't know why humans get like that. But yeah, you can drink out of the troughs.
Okay, they're about it.
Okay. I drink out of the trough first to show them that it's safe.
Sure,
Yeah.
it tastes safe.
Yeah.
Safe.
Tastes like horse mouth.
Yeah. So they're chatting, or the chatty one is chatting while they're drinking the water. He's like, so we're supposed to say you're supposed to help us turn the cart around and get it loaded back up. And the leader wants books
Okay.
like the
history one Getty gave?
Getty. Yeah. I think that was his name.
Dr. De La Cruz?
I'll walk over just to make it
Says,
easier on you.
I'm pretty sure you're supposed to know who I'm talking about. I don't recognize this name, Dr. De La
Okay.
Cruz.
You may have not met. It's fine.
Okay. No, I wasn't there. I saw
Okay.
it. I watched it.
Yeah?
You know, the way we do.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't in the room.
Okay.
I just saw it as the leader saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard about that.
You walk over.
Let me guess. Book?
Do you walk over here just because you're interested, or
Or because
what?
you said its name.
He just like knows premonition wise.
You-
It could have been in the area.
You,
Uh,
you were
I've been-
just talking and you said,
no, you
were in
the
Dr.
area.
De La Cruz?
Yeah, I was right there.
We're like right next to each other.
Yeah.
I was anticipating if I saw the animal's book, so I have the book table ready. I figure the book conversation is going to happen. So, let me guess. Books?
Books.
Yeah.
Do they have my? I was gonna lend out books in the contingency that I got the old one back.
The chatty one has walked up to the doctor and says books, and you can hear him.
I'm doing like a
And
translator
Elk
thing.
is like, Matt,
So he said books.
Do you have the old book?
Do you have the old book? I say this in Elk.
The leader was supposed to give me back the old book in exchange for another one.
Apparently the leader was supposed to give it back.
was it on the cart?
What did the elk say? I just heard a blat noise.
Was it on the cart?
You don't remember seeing a book that was not about trains among the books that was on the cart.
The only books that were on the cart were about trains.
Let me go take a look. I'm gonna go rifle through real quick. That's 15 perception check to check through.
You thoroughly check the contents of what's left on this cart. Some books about trains.
Andrew, could you please roll me a d12?
Oh, I sure can.
If it's a 3, re-roll it.
Okay, because that one's already...
Yeah, that's the one on loan.
How about an 8?
The only book I have on me is a 1984 Chilton's Guide for a Pontiac Firebird. I actually thought the leader might want to look at it, But it's also my personal library, probably the book I care about the least, although I really do love this book. But no books are returning, but no future books are coming. And this is, I'm waving a copy of it, Chilton's 1984 for a Pontiac Firebird. No future books are coming back until I see Marcus Aurelius' Meditations back in my hands. Can you say that?
I will repeat these sentiments.
So, okay. Is Marcus
Aurelius.
Aurelius...
The leader will know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that the name of the other book?
That's the name
The
of
books
the
have
book.
names, right?
They do.
Okay.
Yeah. It goes with the reading part.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Words.
Okay. He wants the old book.
He
Right?
wa-
He wants the old book?
Yeah.
But
And he wants
it
this
points
book
with
back.
nose, not with
Yeah.
hand. Doesn't have hand. Okay. Okay. Leader probably won't be mad.
We have other books that we can share from our library.
Okay. Leader wants books.
Okay.
Do you-
I'll go find you some.
All right. You're off looking for books, and that is where we are going to call it for tonight. Yeah. Bum, 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 bum. Man, I am so bad at running Dungeons and Dragons. There hasn't been like one dragon.
We'll get there.
We had a giant lizard chameleon.
That's kind of like
Iguana.
that's kind of like a dragon.
And we went underground when we met the androids, so
I
that
call-
was kind of like
Yeah.
a dungeon.
That's a good point. There
And the
has been a
leader?
dungeon.
Though to be fair, since the chameleon was really all about like us doing a good turn and then getting another one in return, it was really more of a comic chameleon.
Oh, what?
Comma, 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 comma.
So sorry, that wasn't meant to be self-deprecating. I was trying to make a joke about how there's different action happening in these last few episodes. So,
So tune in next week for Dungeons and Dragons.
Well-
is that what you're promising right now, Andrew?
I'm thinking like maybe next time you'll get to a dungeon and possibly talk about like
There might even be violence. Maybe.
what it is definitionally. Like I don't know. Anyway, hey, we're really happy that you all came and watched tonight. We are extra happy for everyone who shares and retweets and talks about it on Facebook. Hey, Anna, what was the name of the person who rated us? BB Wolf?
Yep.
BB Wolf in your community, thank you for dropping by and keeping us company. We thought that was pretty rad. We also want to thank Casa Venu for that delicious $30 donation. Thank you. You're making the work at GeekSpaceTV possible. And thank you for your nice message. You guys make my week. What? Thank you for being so fantastic. Aw. But no, thank you for being so fantastic. Gosh. Other cool stuff happening at GeekSpaceTV this week would be Wednesday, coming up just a couple nights. It's going to be Leviathan Distant Stars. What? Pretty awesome game. You should come watch that. And then a couple nights after that, on Friday night, you've got Eat, Pray, Kill. What? Another really cool game.
How many demons have they killed? Was it demons they killed?
It's based on a property called Kill 6 Billion Demons.
Oh.
But they're slacking. I mean, they'll get there though.
They'll get there. They have a long timetable to work
They're
with.
just picking up steam.
So, if you want to check on their progress, I think they do more than just kill demons. They get up to all kinds of shenanigans as well.
I can relate.
Yeah. Other cool people to thank. Thank you, Stacy and Amy, for the really awesome art that you've been contributing. You can check out the hashtag AloftRPG or visit the Aloft RPG Twitter account, Aloft RPG, or at Aloft RPG, to see that stuff spotlighted. Johnny Nero Action Hero contributed our intro music. You can check out his Bandcamp for more. Big shout out to the mods tonight, the hardworking mods, keeping things nice on the twitch.tv/GeekSpaceTV.
Making sure the hoi polloi don't get any ideas.
Right. Well, or just helping us all be the Twitch chat kind of people that Mr. Rogers knew that we could be. Is what I like to think of a mod's role as.
Why'd you have to bring Fred into this?
Because he is with me always. All right. Anyone else have any other shout-outs they want to do? Any?
Did you
Cool
want
stuff to
to
promote?
whet their appetite about next week and our special guest star?
Oh, that's right. Holly will not be able to join us next week. So we
Making
have-
life, right?
No, I'm going to Florida.
Oh, shit.
I don't know why. God help me. I love you, Mom.
Do you need any cyanide?
I love you, Mom. I'll see you next week.
You might have already really enjoyed the really cool art that Stacy has done in support of the show. Stacy will be filling in for Holly next week. So for a limited time engagement, come check that out. She will be playing Tybalt the ship's cat for one week.
This is perfect.
It's perfect.
Wow.
Yep.
Did you know that cheetahs don't roar?
Yeah.
No,
I've
they
heard
don't
that.
roar.
Yes.
Huh.
I noticed
can
that you
only
didn't roar before. So,
She's a bad cheetah.
thank you, everybody. We will all hopefully see you again next week, next Monday night, for another episode of Aloft, a post-atomic romance here on GeekSpaceTV.
The
Have a
best
great
thing
night.
happening on Mondays.
Love you.
And thank you to Andrew for putting this together and running it
Oh,
so
yeah.
consistently.
We love you.
Oh, and thank you, Jared, our tech producer, and Anna, the person who runs the show in a big sense here at GeekSpaceTV.
And
Apparently,
thank
are they
you.
gonna end
Yeah.
the show? Are they gonna?
Oh, yeah, we're done. I'm just going to keep thanking people forever if you let me.
All right.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.